Hello and welcome to Small School Saturday Live from Northwood University. We've got a big-time showdown in the GMAC today. Northwood playing host to the Oilers from Findlay. Findlay 8-0, the Timberwolves 7-1, a big-time contest in D2 football. And you look at me, you can tell it's a little frigid in the air in the woods today. That actually looks insane. But we've got a colorful crew joining the desk today. And before we get into introducing that group, I would be remiss in saying thank you, a massive thank you to the staff here at Northwood for financing this trip and making this weekend possible. This, admittedly, fellas, was going to be a break in the week of Small School Saturday. There was going to be no show this weekend, and the fine people of Northwood hit us up, and they said, what would it take to get you down here? Admittedly, I said, not very much. Let's do this thing. We are here live. So excited to bring this to you guys. A man at the end of the desk that shares my last name but not my face, Cade Manzo. How are we doing? Half in the sun, half in the dark, yet to be determined.
Yeah, just happy to be here, man. Always a reoccurring guest. This has been nothing short of spectacular so far, and the best part about it, every week we get to watch a great football game after. So
I think you are above guest status, my friend, but a man who is trying to earn that status today. He's been on a lot of episodes of the podcast. This is the first Small School Saturday appearance for Northwood alum and Oxford Wildcat, Drew Carpenter. What's up, buddy?
Kobe, it's been great to be here. It's awesome to be a part of Small School Saturday for the first time. I've been a podcaster now for, it feels like 3-4.
This team's never going to give up. We're not going to give up.
So it's great to be here.
My bad,
with
Drew.
you.
Sorry I cut you off.
No, you're good. Great to be here with you guys, and let's play some football.
Let's do it. We are not playing today, but we do get to watch some very good football. And finally, another Northwood product of the Timbies, former quarterback here, finishes his career at Adrian College. It's Jake Kelbert. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Kobe? Thanks for having me. No, it's great just to be back here, see this atmosphere as a fan, as a crew member of Division I Rejects.
Yes, sir. Yep. Yes, sir. Come on.
And seeing what this program has turned into. We knew it would be here.
Yeah.
Some of us didn't know how quick it was going to happen, but it's here, and it's here to stay as long as Dusty Buer's here. So.
Yes, sir. It was not a matter of if, but when. And, guys, we've got a great program scheduled for you today. As you see, the tailgate lot here down in the wood is getting full rapidly ahead of a noon kick as the Timberwolves host the Oilers from Findlay. And to start the things off, fellas, we're going to talk about this matchup. Findlay and Northwood is a game that, let's be honest, when it comes to playing in Midland, the Timberwolves have dominated in recent history. We're going to talk all about that. We've got our D2 game previews from across the country coming up at 9:13. All these times in Eastern Standard. Good to be back in the home time zone, I will say myself.
Absolutely.
We'll talk a little bit about the D2 regional rankings. Both these teams featured today coming out in the first regional list, the top 10 teams in each respective geographic area. And then we've got a fun new one on the show at 9:28. Contender or pretender? I'll pick up a couple teams. We have the discussion of whether or not those teams are real contenders in the playoff hunt for a national championship or if they're going to get bounced really early on or even make the dance. And then we go on to Northwood's historic year, talking about Coach B and company, what they've done to change the trajectory of this program. And, fellas, we'll get into our D3 game previews. And you see at the bottom of the list there, Coach Howard, although not with us in person, he did send in some clips of this Timberwolf offense.
It kind of reminds me of like Coach Gruden. Like, he's kind of got the Gruden vibe when he's in his little office. Great quality, by the way. The video quality. I mean,
like
he looked
cinema level.
He looked great.
He does. So looking forward to that one later on as we get through the first hour, guys. And as we get into the second portion of the show, you'll see we've got some very esteemed guests joining us. But up first, our line breaker segment, where we go around the country and pick some of the most outrageous numbers in terms of spreads or the over-under, all the different analytical parts of the game. Findlay is a team we're going to talk a lot about, fellas, because they are a pipeline to the NFL and to professional football in general. We'll highlight a lot of the products that came from the Oilers. And then the man leading the charge for that squad, Corey Allen, the head coach, will join us live at 10:15 behind the desk. And then a very big piece of that Findlay team is Sam Wyrow, one of the linebackers, captain and all GMAC selection. He's got some very interesting family ties to the Oilers. We'll talk about that. Northwood's head coach, Dustin Buer, will join us at the desk. I know you two are freaking pumped for that conversation, I imagine.
Talk about a guy that brings energy every single
Yes.
day. Man, he's going to bring it today for sure.
He definitely is. We were so excited to get him behind the desk. The last time he was on the pod, he was at Albion. So this has been a long time in the making, the resurgence of Coach B on the pod. And then we'll close things out with the Booze Brothers, a great feature on two of the most talented wide receivers on this team and in the GMAC, if I do say so myself. So that's a really cool tie for this Northwood squad. And as we close out the show, fellas, oh, look, Cade, I think you're on this graphic.
Yeah, not the greatest look there for me. I'm not sure what we're trying to do to the co-host here, but
We'll have our NAIA game previews at 10:43, followed by the NAIA Performance Index. That is the algorithm that is going to be used to select the at-large bids for NAIA playoff teams this year in 2025. It's kind of a new implementation. We'll get into our difference maker picks for the day. Each of the guys at the desk picks a difference maker from today's site matchup between Northwood and Findlay. And then, of course, our game picks to close out the show. Two new faces. We'll see how they fare. And then, of course, Allie is still behind the desk. Allie, I think, has a good chance to make some good game picks today. And, of course, her camera never wants to work, so it just cuts to a black screen. Isn't that something? Why does it always do that?
I don't know, man.
Are you just hide from the camera or what?
I think she unplugs it.
Yeah, and look, she isn't even going to hop on the microphone. She's
a white mystery airhead. Just doesn't want to be seen.
What you got?
I'm here.
She, I'm sure, will chime in at some point, fellas. But again, closing out the show, we've got our game picks at 11:03. Close this thing out 11:15 ahead of a noon kickoff as the Timberwolves host the Oilers from Findlay. Once again, a scene from what is honestly the most scenic tailgate environment that I think we've seen so far in small school Saturday history, fellas. Look at this.
Yeah, I think this is this is like pure Michigan, like in a nutshell.
Yeah.
You know what I
Cut
mean?
a promo here.
You see this, and it's like, this is football weather, man.
Yes.
A fun fact, this actually used to be housing.
Really?
They used to have apartments in this area.
Little insider
now,
trading.
Northwood historian.
Yes, sir. So they finally said, these apartments aren't cutting anymore. So we got beautiful North Village on the other end, and they turned this into the tailgate. So
He's also an architect, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's talk
Something
about
I
this
do in my free time.
matchup, fellas. Findlay coming into town to take on Northwood. The all-time series right now, tied 13-13. Today is the difference maker. One of these teams will lead in the all-time series. The first meeting for these two squads in 1962. That's how deep-rooted this matchup is. And while there only have been 26, if my math serves me correctly, meetings between these two teams in that time, it has certainly become a matchup that I think both teams have marked on the schedule. Findlay, though, this team is 8-0 for just the sixth time in their 131-year history of this program, a program that has a lot of those NFL ties, a very storied past. The motto, the guys tell me from this squad, it's to prove it every day. Prove it is the motto, the 2025 slogan for this Findlay squad. What did you guys learn about the Oilers playing them the last couple of years?
Physical. The team that's going to bring it every single rep. Not only are they physical, like offensively and defensively, but at the same time, they also have like some creativity as well. The last time we played them, they had a really good tight end, very successful player. The year before that, I got concussed at halftime, so don't really remember the second half, but the first half, it was a really good running back, number 28. He was downhill running, and a defense that's going to get all after you every single play.
Absolutely, and we've already got a warm hello from our guy James in Florida. He says his line breaker is Harding minus 46.
I mean, you really like.
Yeah.
I wish I could say that's crazy, but it's not.
We'll get to those.
Really
we will
Tell James
absolutely
that I
get
got
to those.
something to rival that. Real quick.
We will get to those, fellas. But Findlay, the Oilers. This is the piece that I think is less favorable for this Findlay squad. All-time 7-40 against top 25 ranked opponents. That does not bode very well for this Oilers team. Their win versus UIndy to start the year, though, has been the most statement win on their entire campaign in 2025. This team has a gauntlet to close out 2025. They have, of course, in Midland today, taking on Northwood. They go on the road at Ashland next week, and then they close out the year at home against Tiffin. There are some very big games still to happen in the GMAC, fellas, but I think we'll talk more about this Findlay team. Who better to hear it from than the players
This
themselves?
team's never going to give up. We're not going to give up for anything. You can put anybody in front of us. We can play anywhere. We can play in front of 100,000 fans. We can play in a parking lot. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna give it our all, and we're gonna eventually win the game. It doesn't matter how it starts, how it is in the middle. We're gonna finish strong, and that's how it's gonna be every week.
I think this team just has a different fire to them. I wouldn't go to war with anybody else.
We just try to match each other's energy all day, every day. We just got each other back, and we playing as one team. That's all we're trying to get to. We just want to be violent because the most violent team win.
Running to the football, pride ourselves on straining, finishing through the whistle. And there's even a little edge to our defense this year that I like. We will get a little chippy in, you know what I'm saying? Like, it comes off from a violent place.
This team and staying in the fight is just something that we're very proud of.
That's a look at the Findlay Oilers. And fellas, kind of like I said earlier on, Findlay maybe has not fared well necessarily in these top 25 matchups. You know what? They also have not done very well in Midland. They are 6-3 the last 9 meetings versus Northwood. All 6 of those wins came in Ohio.
The last time that we played Findlay here in Midland, they were a very, very good team, and we were kind of still trying to figure out where we were as a program, where we were as a team. Coach B, probably his first statement win in, Midland. Yeah. So I think that was a huge catapult to where they are now, and I know for a fact Findlay's trying to, rewrite history.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
we talked about that after we beat Findlay here 2 years ago. We talked about how that was a program win and how this one's going to shape the trajectory of this program.
100%. And it certainly has. And there's 2 mottos the guys talked about that are carrying this team in 2025. The first of which is FRAGS. That's the acronym that this Timberwolves squad has talked about, fellas. And, yeah, you get a little laugh out of that one. I like it. I love it. But it stands for finish, respond, accountability, grit, and sacrifice. That's one thing that this team is living by. The other is to leave the jersey better than you found it. And we talked with some of these guys, but senior linebacker Jalen Pitchford was the one that really gave that one to me. And the mark that him and that class has had on Northwood over the last couple of years has been nothing short of spectacular. He talked about that, how they were ready to leave their mark on this Timberwolves program.
I've not been a part of a team that has been this disciplined in their process every day. And we're hungry, and I think that makes us dangerous.
They look at us as little old Northwood. I don't care who lines up across from me. I want to make you feel me, know that I'm going to be there all game.
Our defense philosophy is we're going to be intense, we're going to be in your face, we're going to keep coming at you. And
this team here, we have a lot of guys that are bought into the mission. They're bought into what we're trying to do, what we're trying to get done. It's become more than just a brotherhood, more than just a family. The message has been to leave the jersey better, so essentially what that means is just to leave it better than how you found it.
You heard it there from Jalen Pitchford and the Timberwolves. Leave the jersey better than you found it. And you two were a very big part of that in your time here, Jake. How have you seen and how have you left the jersey better than you found it? How do these guys continue to do that?
I think especially with our 2020 class, we came in, we had – I think Drew had, 6 different defensive back coaches. We had a lot of
new defensive back coach every single year.
We had a lot of turnover. Yeah. And I think when Coach B came here, his big thing was, I want a coaching staff that's going to stick around. Yeah. And I think, especially at the Division II level, that is a huge thing. Finding a staff that is willing to stick around, right, even when better jobs come about, sticking around, seeing it through, and at the end of the day, building a program that's going to win a lot of football games, and that's what we're seeing come to fruition right now.
A lot of it, too, is them building off the seeds that they planted a couple of years ago, right? Like, yes. When we came into Northwood, we won 1 game our first year, 3 games the next year, and then Coach B comes in, and we're winning 5 games. You look at the success they have, it's because of the seeds that were planted there.
Is that one of the Booze brothers behind us?
I remember when –
That is incredible.
That's awesome.
That is incredible.
That's
I'm sorry,
awesome.
Drew, you're in the middle of a promo.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. I love it. And speaking of, the Booze brothers, speaking of – you got to have both. I was going to say, you can't pick favorite son. You got to have both. I love it.
Oh, my goodness.
But speaking of the Booze brothers, speaking of a guy like Cole Simpson, Jalen Pitchford, those were guys that were on that team that when Coach B came into this program and really injected life into it. Yeah. And I think a big part of that is because those guys that were young guys who might have not been leaders then are leaders now and they're ready to go.
Yeah, and obviously, I get to give the credit to you guys. It was your class and the classes that came even before you that helped shape those underclassmen and put them into those roles, which is very important. But let's get into the national slate in D2 football because it's a good one. Dare I say, a scary good one, fellas. And we're going to start things off down south. Yep, pun went over all your heads. That's okay?
No, I
okay,
heard,
good.
yeah.
You just didn't acknowledge. That's all right.
It was all right.
It's okay. Let's start things off. West Florida at Delta State, a big-time matchup inside of the Gulf South Conference. And obviously, Cade, we're kicking it to you to talk about the Argos.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I feel like I should get an Argos jersey and maybe a helmet. I've been telling Kobe all week I can't wait to push my Marcus Stokes propaganda today on the world. But this West Florida team's legit, right? They're 8-0, and if a team by the name of Fair State wasn't around, they'd be the number one team in the country.
The Bisons may have something to say about that.
In my opinion, okay? I made sure I put it on here because, in my opinion, I'm entitled to my own opinion, right? Yes. Marcus Stokes, quarterback. In my eyes, is the front runner for the Harlan Hill. There's three categories that I like to go off of. Stats, right? He's got the stats, the eye test. You walk in the building, you see that guy, he's got the stuff, and he wins. He wins football games. He checks all the boxes. On the other hand, this is a really good Delta State football team, right? It's not West Florida's first test of the year. They're going to have to play their brand of football and take care of the football to take care of this Delta State football team.
100%. We're getting some love from the UK on Small School Saturday. Absolutely love that.
The
game is 100% international. That is expand. I love that. But, Drew, talk about the other side of the ball. Delta State certainly has been through some adversity as well, but they've come out on top for the most part.
As great as West Florida is, Delta State's an equally as good as opponent for them. Speaking of last week, beating West Alabama, that's a huge win for them. And not only that, they've won 5 in a row. 7-1 on the season. Really good going into this week against West Florida. But they're also a balanced attack, right? So they have not only they have Cole at quarterback, but Nick Clark at running back.
Yep.
They also have 4 players over 200 yards rushing. So they can beat you with not only their first guy, their second guy, their third guy, their fourth guy as well. So they're going to be balanced. They're going to be ready to attack West Florida. And then as well, watch out for leading receiver Lawrence Armstrong, Neil LeMay, and Curtis Reeder, all over 300 yards receiving. So not only do you have like 4 guys over 200 yards rushing, 3 guys over 300 yards receiving, you're going to have multiple guys that you got to look out for. There isn't necessarily like a stud that you're like, we shut him down, we shut the team down.
That's impressive.
This is a really good balanced team, but defensively, Alex Larry leads the team in sacks with 4.5. Carl Hopkins has been all over the field with 31 tackles, 2 interceptions. And during this 5-game win streak, you want to talk about, kicking names and, everything like that. 210-64. Is their points margin in that 5-game win streak.
Wow. Nick Clark's legit, dude. I think he probably leads the nation in rushing touchdowns this year. If I would go on a limb and say that, I think he's got 12 or 13.
It's a good question. He's certainly on the list for sure. And we'll move over and talk about another matchup. This one, maybe not getting the light that some people have shed on the other matchups, guys. But let's go down to a little bit of a cross-conference game here. We've got Frostburg State going on the road, taking on Cal PA and the Vulcans. Vulcans are favored by 10 in this matchup at home. There's not a lot of history to go off of when it comes to these two teams, guys. It's the first ever meeting between these two squads. There's not a lot of history or other deals that they can go off of, but what can I tell you about this Frostburg State team is they've had to earn it the last couple of weeks. The last 2 weeks in particular, they've played in 5 different overtime periods. A 2 overtime loss to Glenville State, and then a triple overtime win over Charleston on the road. That is a statement victory for a Frostburg State team that has serious MEC title contentions on the line here. Now, even though this isn't a conference game, this is very much, I believe, a regional type of performance, so could have a lot of playoff implications. The 3rd week in a row that the Bobcats are on the road. They currently stand alone atop the MEC, a conference that has been Charleston's to run in very recent history, so very much a statement win last week. See if they can keep that good momentum rolling. And for me, the guy to watch is running back KJ Smothers, wide receiver Javon Gilliard. They're both coming in for really top performances a week ago. They will be the key pieces for this Frostburg State team offensively.
Yes, and then digging into Cal PA, talking about history, they haven't lost on Senior Day since 2013.
Stat that.
So going all the way back, this is a game that means a lot to these seniors.
Historian.
If I do say so myself, right? But just looking back on this season, it hasn't gone necessarily the way that they've wanted it to go. But they're coming off a 1-score loss to IUP, who's one of their rivals in the Coal Bowl last week. And then 2 difference makers in this game for them, both coming offensively. I'm going to start highlighting Phaeton Hill. stepped in at quarterback for them. Stepped in for senior quarterback Roman Purcell, who started for the first 6 games.
Yeah.
And in those 6 games, they were averaging 140 yards per game through the air. In the last 2 that Peyton Hill has been the starter for, they are averaging 289.
Hello!
So a huge difference in the passing game, and I think that's really going to help them. They're favored by 10, so I think that's really going to help them against a really good Frostburg State team. And then the second one I want to highlight is one of the best kickers in the nation in Harry Radcliffe.
There you go.
He is perfect on his PATs, 25 for 25, and he leads the nation, not just the nation.
The nation.
All right? With 14 field goals. He's 14 for 16, so having a kicker that you can rely on as soon as you pretty much break that halfway mark of the field, being able to rely on a leg like that is huge, especially for an offensive coordinator late in the season.
100%. A team with a lot of momentum seemingly right now, guys. It's Northern State. They're coming off a big-time win over Moorhead. They're going on the road. They got a tough matchup inside of the NSIC today against an Augustana team that is poised to be at the front of that conference. Drew, what can you tell me about this squad?
They're hot, right? Northern State, the Wolves, they've won 3 in a row, and they are led by arguably the best linebacker in the entire country. I call him their version of Thad Castle, not only because of the way he plays, he's also number 54. So it kind of fits. Let's talk about his stats. 93 total tackles, highest on the team by 30. He's second nationally in tackles per game. He's 4th in total tackles. Did he fit the description? I think so. That's Thad Castle in a nutshell. Here we go. On the offensive side of the ball, do they not only have a workhorse, but they have a guy, number 39. Talk about a good running back number, 39. Wyatt Block, approaching 1,000 yards this season. He hasn't even played 10 games yet. That tells you over 100 yards per game right there. He's also going to be a guy to expect as well as Daniel Britt, another guy that they like getting the ball. So they have a really good 1-2 option right there to get guys the ball. Fun fact about the Wolves, and this is not to, put some salt in the wounds or anything like that. 5-0 at home, 1-2 on the road. So that should be interesting.
Playing in the Bank Stadium over there in South Dakota and Aberdeen is certainly a difference maker. We saw the clips right there from that overtime win over Moorhead. Shout out to our guy Matt Witwicky from D2Football.com getting the shot there. And on the overtime, when that ball got batted away, Witt pulled a little dodge in the back of the end zone to get out of that thing. Showing a little athleticism there. But, this Wolves team has a lot of things to be really excited about. What the coaching staff has done over there and what the community impact has been on that team has been awesome. All that being said, Augustana's got a damn good football team. They are very quality, 8-0, one of the best teams in the country, let alone the Northern Sun Conference right now, fellas. And to me, you're playing a Northern State team that has all this tempo. You got to get up on them early. You have to certainly put the foot down early and remind them, you're in our house. We still run this conference until otherwise, right? Until someone comes in and usurps us from the throne. And to me, it's about the quarterback. We had Rich Cicero Jr. on the podcast pretty recently. When your starter goes down, that is honestly a candidate for the Harlan Hill at the beginning of the year, and you have a freshman come in and take on that role, that's not something that certainly typically precedes a winning or a championship type environment. He has stepped up. Absolutely. The last 3 games, 700 yards through the air. If he continues to control this offense like that and show the poise that we've come to expect with him over the last couple weeks of the season, the train could stay on the tracks this Saturday. We'll get into our game picks certainly later on. Defensively, though, Logan Leonard, 6'4 DB. He leads the team, 44 tackles and 11 pass breakups on the year. Certainly an impact player defensively for this Vikings team. And now, though, we'll head out west. Let's go to what I would say is probably the highest ranked contest of the day. I think that's a pretty easy one to say out in the RMAC. We've got CSU Pueblo taking on Western Colorado out there in Gunnison for a big-time kickoff, Cade.
Yeah, and this Pueblo team, they're really good, right? They're 7-1. They continue to win football games, and they were an extra point away from being 8-0. I want people to understand, this is not a fluke 7-1 football team. They lost the Fort Hays. Was it Fort Hays?
Fort Hays State.
Yep, Fort Hays State on the extra point, I believe, earlier in the year. But this is the biggest game of the year for both of these football teams, right? Their quarterback, Roman Fuller, he's been an absolute beast, solidifying himself into the conversation of the Harlan Hill. Last week, he threw for 390 yards and 3 touchdowns. On the year, he's got 2,195 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, and only 3 picks. Defensively, they held opponents to 14 or less points, 5 out of their 8 games this far into the season. Bryson Torrey and Peyton Shaw lead this Pueblo defense, accounting for 3 picks each. through the first 8 games. And shout out Pueblo, man. I love this Thunderwolves squad. I really like the brand of football they play. And obviously one of my good friends, Adam Sala, on that defense.
And how about the university president knocking out the touchdown push-ups right there?
Yeah, there you go,
What
man.
a cool deal that is, huh?
But glad he got the full range there. That would have been embarrassing in front of the students.
This Thunderwolves team is legit, man. And like I said, I really like the brand of football they play. Obviously, I think this is the biggest game in Division II, maybe all of small school football today.
Yeah, I don't think that's a crazy take at all, honestly. And the big thing for Pueblo is you're not in the Thunderbolt today. You're traveling out to Gunnison, and it might not be a trip across the country, but what do they need to expect?
The number 5th ranked team in the nation. Western Colorado comes into this game 8-0. This is the same game that they went into 8-0 last year and lost to Pueblo 44-34. So we see the past couple years this game has held serious implications.
Yep.
Their lowest margin of victory this season is 17 points. The closest game they've been in is 17 points.
That's unbelievable.
That is insane, actually.
And not to mention they have the number 1 defense in the RMAC. They've led up. They averaged 13.3 points per game. So a really, really, really good defense that starts with their defensive line. They're number 1 in the nation in team tackles for losses. That comes from Drew Johnson, who has 11.
There you go.
And Ian Loomis, who has 9 tackles for loss, and he's tied for first in the RMAC in sacks with 5. So you talk about a really good passing game. Well, they have a really good defensive line, and that's going to need to kind of get into the quarterback's head as they go through that game.
Sure.
Just to let him know that we're here and we're here to stay. And then I also want to highlight on the offensive side of the ball, quarterback Drew Nash. He's the most efficient quarterback in the RMAC. He's averaging 303 yards per game, which is first in the conference. He has a 63.3 completion percentage, which is pretty darn good this late in the season. He has just north of 1,800 passing yards, so pretty solid. And then he's 22 touchdowns, 2 interceptions ratio. And then he has, again, the 170 quarterback efficiency rating. They have won 3 of the last 4 meetings against Pueblo before losing the first 12 in the matchup.
Historian.
So
historian stat.
That's my thing, man.
We'll move forward because we got to get through these matchups to keep on track here. And what I like about this is we're covering a lot of different conferences, covering a lot of ground today. We got Angelo State at Central Washington. Cade, what can you quickly tell me about this ASU squad?
Yeah, this Los Angeles Rams team, right? Matt
Yeah,
Stafford
all
behind
right,
quarterback.
all right.
Hey, shout out Coach Howard. I see you in the chat, big fella. 6-2 this year, right? And they got a real shot to make the playoffs, especially if they beat the Central Washington squad. This is a good Central Washington team. They've played and won some ranked games earlier in the year. Under center, they kind of have a 2 quarterback system, which is way more normalized, by the way, in today's.
It's weird.
And it's not like it's like. I'll keep it brief, but it's like smaller school, right? You don't really see it at the D1 level a whole lot, but like you see it a ton now, looking at the all game notes and stuff. But Braden Fuller and Caden Smith. Caden Smith being more of the rushing quarterback. He's 3rd in the team with just over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Fuller has thrown for 775 and 11 touchdowns. So, it's kind of a run-pass heavy kind of 2-man system. And then their junior defensive back, Xavier Walton, he leads the Ram defense with 4 interceptions to go along with 44 tackles, a TFL, and a sack.
You see the Central Washington team, they've obviously had a great season, 7-1. Who is that one loss to? Montana, an FCS powerhouse, right? This is not a team that has shown up short at any point throughout the 2025 season. They've done a very good job at home, 4-0 on their home field, looking to extend that streak today. The offense, 45 points a game. Their opponents, only 18. All these things to say, Central Washington, very good football team. Whether our good friend of the program, Tanner Volk, is in that backfield or not, dude. Right? This team has continued its upward trajectory. Kennedy McGill, he leads the team in passing and rushing yards, accounting for all the most total TDs on this squad as well. Certainly is the focal point and the catalyst for this offensive attack for the Wildcats. Defense has struggled to force turnovers a little bit in 2025. Could certainly be a thing to come into play today, but still playing great, right? Couple turnovers today. I like their chances in this matchup, fellas. But we'll talk about the Division II landscape as a whole here. One more check-in at Northwood and the tailgate here ahead of a 12 o'clock kickoff versus Findlay. But let's take a quick peek at this, guys, fellas. The landscape in D2 football, this is a look at the first set of rankings that will ultimately determine the D2 playoff selection. The initial release is not in ranked order, rather just 10 teams in consideration in alphabetical order. The playoff is expanding this year from 28 to 32. That means 4 extra teams, 1 per super region. It also means the top-seeded teams no longer have a bye week to start the playoffs. Super Region's also got a big shift from years past. For example, GMAC is now in the same Super Region 3 with the GLIAC, the GLVC, and the Northern Sun. You see it there. Both teams we're featuring today, Northwood and Findlay, featured in the first set of the regional rankings. I mean, imagine that. We're talking about 2 potential playoff teams here today.
Absolutely. I do think that if you do get that last spot and have to go play Ferris State, that would obviously not be the greatest draw.
No.
But as far as programs that are competing for a playoff spot, what more could you ask for, right? This game, it might not have meant a lot when you looked at the calendars in April, in May, in June. But when you look in November 1st, it means a lot, right? These 2 teams need this win today to catapult them to not only in consideration, but to be teams that were like slam dunk, they're in, pretty much book it.
Super Region 4, as we pointed out, it really has turned into the gauntlet. It was SR3 for a long time. SR4 now is legit. You talk about what the RMAC has looked like, the MIAA, the Lone Star, the GAC, all inside of Super Region 4. That has become the top Super Region in D2 football, at least in 2025. A shout-out Upper Iowa. How about seeing them in the mix in playoff conversation? That is a name I did not think we'd be talking about when it came to D2 football playoffs.
I think a huge win for them was going up into Houghton, Michigan. Shocked me, shocked a lot of people that week.
Go Peacocks.
Yeah. So that was a huge win for them, and they've taken it and ran with it.
Yes, they certainly have.
Get wrong with it, man.
They certainly have. Now, fellas, we'll get on to our contenders or pretenders.
Yes,
the first
man.
team we're talking about, Johnson C. Smith, the Golden Bulls.
What a mascot.
It is. It's an incredible mascot. This is a team 7-1. Their loss was to Virginia Union, who themselves also in a very similar spot. But to me, not any huge tests for this team up to this point of the season. What is the general consensus? Serious contender when it comes to the playoffs, or right now are the Golden Bulls just pretending?
Yeah, I mean, kind of looking at the rundown of the year, and I think they're ranked 17 right now in the rankings. It might be off. It might
somewhere
be
around there,
16 or 17. But they got a transfer quarterback, Kelvin Durham. He's been electric. He's got 2,000 plus passing yards, almost 20 touchdowns. He's coming over from Fort Valley State. They were 8-0 last year, right? And they lost their last 2 games of the year. So this is, and like you kind of said, Kobe, there's not a huge test for this Johnson C. Smith team yet, but they've done what they need to do, right? I mean, you're supposed to win ball games. You win ball games. I mean, people are always going to complain. They're always going to complain about something, but you can't be mad about 7-1, right?
No, you certainly cannot. That's a team that we certainly will continue to watch as they close out this season. A defense in the CIAA that is leading in scoring defense, only allowing about 16 points per game, fellas. But we'll stay in D2 for this next one here, Drew. I'll have you talk a little bit about the Greyhounds. 7-1 right now, the number 12 ranked team in the country. That lone loss was to the Oilers to open up 2025.
Yeah, UIndy's one of those complicated teams because you never really know who they are based on conference play, right?
Yep.
You always have to look at their non-conference. For instance, this year lost to Findlay. Last year lost to a Saginaw Valley State team who lost to Northwood the week prior.
Yeah,
right.
That's a dangerous game. That's a dangerous
game.
Yep.
This weird thing with them where it's like, all right, how good are they? They tend to usually make the playoffs, make the dance, and then they just go home right after making the dance. Yeah. So I think UIndy, the big thing for them to be a contender is to not only get into the dance, but let's make some noise. And who would they play? That's a huge aspect, right?
Yeah.
I believe 2 years ago, maybe it was last year, at GV.
And that game was competitive for a chunk of the game. Yep.
But like I said, when they're going to keep, nothing's wrong with 7-1. We just talked about that. But at the end of the day, are you going to then run that 7-1 record to where we get into the playoffs and start making some noise, or are you just going to be there at the end of the day?
That offense averaging more than 46 points per game under quarterback Gavin Sukup. He's the 12th in the nation currently for passing yards, fellas. And very quickly, we go to our D3 pick here. That's out of the ODAC. Randolph-Macon, the Yellow Jackets, 7-1. They lost to Central. Talk about another out-of-conference loss. They haven't played a close game since then. And to me, Randolph-Macon very much certainly still a contender, even with that blemish on the schedule. Interested to see how they finish and in what fashion they finish. The huge test Week 10 against a very quality receiving votes right now Hampton-Sydney team, a game that hasn't been played dating back to the 1800s. So this is a big test for them to close out the year. We're going to find out very soon about a lot of these teams.
Does that say 1800s?
Yeah,
it does.
Wild.
Was that you, historian?
No, that wasn't me this time.
Yeah, I was looking at it yesterday. It was 1802, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Or wait.
And finally, our NAIA pick, the Morningside Mustangs, a team that has dominated the GPAC as of late. We thought maybe this wasn't Northwestern's year. Guess what, Red Raiders, they win upset Morningside. That's their second loss on the year after a tough one to start the year against Benedictine. Highly regarded as the top-tier program in the country. They still got to play Dort in the GPAC. Dort is undefeated right now.
Go Defenders.
This could be Dort's year to run this conference, and they still have a lot of things going on for this team that are really exciting about. They're coming off a dominant win over a number 23 ranked Concordia team. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think Morningside is pretender in 2025.
Okay.
I might go ahead and rebuttal you there, Kobe.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I'm just going back to how, back in high school, Morningside was always one of the most dominant NAIA programs, right? And when you have kids that were recruited and they were pretty much raised and learned how to win football games, at Morningside, how they've done for so long, you kind of get those guys that expect to win. And in those big games and those big moments, those are the kids that make those plays.
It's a culture, yeah.
Right? So when your culture is set and it's a winning culture, right? Again, you're going up against Dort, who's 10-0, right? So, but at the end of the day, they have kids in those programs that can make those plays and that they're going to make enough at the end of the day to possibly pull up an upset in that game.
It's the standard now.
Yeah, it certainly is. And the standard here at Northwood has certainly changed in the last couple of years. It's been a long time coming for the Timberwolves. Head coach Dustin Buer, he was, before the 2023 season, that's when they brought him on as the head coach of this Timby squad. Before then, fellas, this Northwood team was very much a program still finding its way through a long night. The 4 seasons prior to his hiring, this team went a combined 8-34 without more than 3 wins in a single year. Northwood hasn't made it to the playoffs since 2006, haven't hosted a top 25 matchup since 2005, but they're starting to find their voice, gentlemen. The Timberwolves, nationally ranked for the first time since September of 2007, and both sides of the ball are playing at an outstanding clip, currently ranked second in the GMAC in both scoring, defense, and offense, boys. A lot to be excited about, a lot to howl about if you're this Northwood Timberwolves squad. Only 1 turnover on the season. That's the fewest of any team in Division II football. How about that?
I credit Coach Mirren, honestly, and Ethan Hamby, and Lake Booz, Case Booz, Jake Townsend, guys that have not only been here, but gotten better each year, right? It's a credit to not turn the ball over, but at the same time, when you're now second in points and you don't turn the ball over, your defense now gets to, put their ears up and go get the pass rush, right? Go get after it. And that's only helped Coach Sweeney and that defense, the side of the ball, to be dominant. Both sides are being dominant. Why? Because they're being complementary.
100%. As we quickly get into some of our D3 previews here, there's a big one in WIAC territory today. Whitewater going on the road to River Falls. This one means more in the conference that dominated the conversation of D3 football. Drew, what can you tell us about this Warhawk squad?
I think the first D3 school I ever heard of was Whitewater, to be honest with you, just because they won every single year on ESPN. Led by a phenomenal defense. You talk about a team only giving up 11 points per game this far into the season, you're dominant. 232 yards per game, you're dominant. They're having a great year for a storied program that continuously has great years. Offensively, they're also dominant in the rushing side of the ball. 217 yards per game, 200 yards per game rushing.
Hello.
That means you're putting your foot, along with 180 yards per game on the passing attack, a very balanced team. Justin Klickner can do it all. He's 40 on the ground, 170 through the air to go along with 22 touchdowns, along with Ethan Gallinger defensively. You talk about a guy who's all over the field, 64 total tackles, 2 interceptions, and 1.5 tackles for loss.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we'll kind of just dive into this River Falls team, right? I think Seth is probably talking about them now as we speak at home, not even on camera. But there's one.
Dreams last night.
Yeah, there's one guy on this River Falls offense, Caleb Blaha, right? He's the top gun pilot for this high flying offense.
Yeah.
The guy's stats don't even. It doesn't even seem real. He doesn't even play half the game. Like you can't really base it off. It reminds me a lot of Luke Lanen.
Sure. Wow, that's high praise.
Yeah.
The 2-time Gallardi winner.
Stats wise, because the guy didn't play. I mean, and that's because they're up 60 points at half, right? So, I mean, defensively, they're led by a guy that we got to see up and close, gauged him. He is everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. He plays with controlled chaos, right? I had the pleasure of seeing Coach Walker and his boys play early on in the year. They're as good as advertised, and they will continue to get better. And from Seth, this is the most beatable Whitewater team this team has faced post-COVID. River Falls is getting this shit done. Per Seth.
Ooh, Okay.
Good quote attribution there. Make sure the blame gets directed to the right source. Let's talk about Johns Hopkins at Muhlenberg. The Blue Jays favored by 16.5 on the road, fellas. 7-0 this year. Have a couple games that they've been absolutely rolling and dangerous in. Bay Harvey, he's been dealing under center this year for this Blue Jays attack. An offense, 300 yards passing a game, 150 on the ground. Very multidimensional in that attack. They got a lot of different guys that can get it done. On the other side of the ball, though, junior linebacker Nashville Browning Trainer, he leads the Blue Jays defense, 54 tackles, 3.5 TFLs. Again, Blue Jays have done it in all phases. This is kind of their last true deal in the Centennial. This is a kind of a pseudo conference championship game, Drew.
Yeah, but let's look at Muhlenberg.
Muhlenberg, there you go.
Muhlenberg.
The Mules.
I would assume so.
Okay, yep.
They are fueled by the rushing attack. And honestly, I don't want to talk about just running the ball the entire time. But when you have 178 per game, 3 games this season with over 200 yards rushing, they have scored 33 times this year. Kobe, you know what all those have in common?
No, I don't.
They ran the ball for over 200 yards that day, right? So talking about, run the damn ball, that's their mindset, okay? 3-headed monster they have. They have Manning, they have Mahaffey, who's the quarterback, and Schnaffner Knights run the ball. Defensively, they have Joe Papa with 4.5 sacks.
Hell of a name.
Yo Daddy is going for 4.5 sacks, right? Thomas Curtery, his name is Joe Papa, so it's your dad, right? Thomas Curtery is anchoring down the middle. This is a really good squad, and they're going to bring it today against Johnny Hopkins.
They certainly are, fellas, and we'll go back to the conference that is talked about so much on this program for very good reason. Another big-time one in Wisconsin territory. Oshkosh going on the road to take on Platteville, Jake.
They're coming into this game with arguably the hardest schedule in all of Division III.
Yeah.
They are 4-3. They have played 4 nationally ranked opponents, 1 program that is receiving votes, and they played against 1 Division II GLIAC program in Roosevelt.
And beat them.
There
you go.
Correct.
Oh, boy.
So they have played some very high-level football games and some very high-level football programs. They're 1-3 on the road this season, and 2 of those 3 losses have come at the hands of nationally ranked programs, as in number 1 North Central and number 2 UW La Crosse. They also lost at UW Stout. So we see here they've played in those big games, and they've played them on the road. They haven't necessarily seen the light of day and became victorious against those. But at the end of the day, they have another chance today. Yep. They have an upset win at home against the really good UW River Falls team who we talked about, who actually beat Platteville. So if we're score matching, that's a long list that we're not going to get down.
The WIAC circle of suck is year-round.
We can do that every week. It's insane. We can do it every week.
So who beat who this week?
Yeah.
The dangerous game.
And one thing I wanted to kind of note, and something that they need to overcome, is they're averaging 18 points on the road, and they're averaging 29 points at home. So there's a huge difference between the offense on the road and at home, and I think that's going to be a big key in today's game. 100%. And that needs to come from the quarterback, and Kyle Dietzen, who comes into the game as the defensive back, Kyle Dietzen, who comes into this game as one of the best defensive players in the WIAC. He leads the WIAC in 73 tackles.
We got a WIAC sighting.
All right, so he has 2 forced fumbles, which he's tied for first, and he has 2 sacks and 4.5 tackles for loss. Right, so to stop Platteville's offense, I think that really comes at the hands of Kyle Dietzen and helps that offense have more time with the football to put up more points.
Yeah, talking about the Pioneers here, we saw him in person very recently.
Yes, and you said stopping that offense, and good luck because they got a guy by the name of Trevor Seisey, and I'll go on a limb and say the dude might be the most underrated wide receiver at any level of college football, right? Seeing him play in person, he is a freak of nature athlete. He made a spectacular catch in their loss last week. I'm not sure if you guys got to catch that on Twitter, but he made a great catch in the end zone last week for a touchdown.
A couple of them.
They had a huge win against La Crosse already this year, thanks to D1R, right? Spread the graphic.
The small school Saturday
graphic, right? But I absolutely love what Coach Munz is doing and company down there, right? They play fast together as one unit, and they're relentless as hell in their pursuit to the football.
Absolutely love that. Let's go out west, fellas. Continue this D3 football conversation. This is a fun one. Lewis and Clark taking on Linfield out there in Oregon, and Brett Elliott, the homecoming versus former team. And if there's any sort of motivation, in terms of that, he would be the first one to tell you that this is just another game on the schedule. Every great coach in America would give you that same exact sentence. There's a little bit extra here. This matchup is going to be a big one. They won Lewis and Clark 5 games to start the year. They've lost the last 2 weeks. George, Fox, and Whitworth, a couple teams that gave them some challenges, the Pioneers. And quarterback DeShale Weaver has thrown for almost 1,500 yards, 20 touchdowns, only 4 giveaways in terms of interceptions. Very efficient clip for the signal caller there. And the defense has kind of been on the other side. They've struggled a little bit in keeping the ball out of the end zone as of late. Got to keep this squad, keep them tight. Linfield's favored by 17 points at home. Why is that, Jake?
You want to know why? Yeah. Another history fact. Can anyone guess the last time that Lewis and Clark beat Linfield?
I'm going to go ahead and say none of us were even a thought at that point.
46 years ago by the score of 7-4. So actually
7-4?
double 7-4.
Are you
Yeah, 2 safeties, I guess.
What? Double our lifespans, right? So
close.
and I have a couple keys of how they can extend that streak to 47. Okay. Obviously, you talked about the head coach. He's going to have a lot of added motivation, and this is kind of a big week for him. But at the end of the day, what it comes down to is Linfield has to stop the pass.
Sure.
They have to stop the pass. Lewis and Clark has the second best passing offense in the NWC with 274 yards per game. But on the other hand, Linfield has the number 1 rushing defense in the conference with only allowing 79 yards per game. So if that passing game isn't really getting to where they need it to be, at the end of the day, Linfield comes in with one of the best rushing defenses in the conference, so they have that to hang their hat on.
Absolutely.
It's headed by junior safety Brady Crenshaw, who has 3 forced fumbles, which is 5th in the nation, and he has 43 total tackles. And then also junior defensive end Jaden Kayo, he has 7 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and 22 total tackles. So you see 2 guys on the defense side of the ball who are juniors, right?
Yeah.
So they played in a lot of football games, and they still have a lot of football left to play. But they're 2 very, very talented defensive. And then they also need to establish the run. They've struggled to do so far this season. And quarterback Luke McNabb is the leading rusher on the team with 271 yards.
And I'm going to keep it rolling, not to cut you off, but we'll keep moving to our last matchup here. Another kind of conference championship type game here. We've got Monmouth going on the road to UChicago. The Maroons favored by 17 points at home, an offense that has certainly earned that number over the course of the regular season. And this Monmouth team, though, to start on the other side of the ball, they lost their first game of the year to Wartburg. They've won 6 straight since, including last week. The defense has given up less than 10 points in 5 of their 7 games, so that has been a big piece of their success. Certainly not going to be the case against Chicago. They have not faced a team like Chicago in the very recent history. That defense is going to be challenged, and they're going to be challenged early in today's matchup. The quarterback for the Fighting Scots, Braden Deem, he's having a great year, almost 1,500 yards, 16 touchdowns to only 5 picks. Defensively, they're looking to Ethan James, leads the defense, 60 tackles, 2 fumble recoveries, so definitely taking advantage there, Cade.
Yeah, the Chicago team, much like this Monmouth squad, they started the year with a loss to number 18 Carnegie Mellon, but they've rattled off 6 straight since that opener, right? So the defense has shut out opponents twice this year already. They're led by a sophomore linebacker, guys, Cade Ostendorf, who has 48 tackles, which is 23 more than the second guy on their team. He has 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and an interception. They average 35 points to the opponent's 10, so that's usually a pretty good
I think that's
recipe for winning football games. And then the running game, Jake Lowry leads the team offensively on the ground. He's got 520 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns to go along with it.
Let's continue in D3, fellas, but now we're not talking about the D2 regional rankings. We're moving over to Division 3 and talking about a team that made some history very recently, boys. The Pilgrims breaking the streak. New England College. They beat Maine Maritime 14-10. That marked their first win in over 70 years. The program, you wonder how that happens, they're on a 51-year hiatus where they did not have a team. Their last recorded win was in 1950 against Leicester in Massachusetts. They dropped the football program from the school's athletic program in 1950, tried to bring it back in 1972, but after 2 seasons going 0-13 combined, they dropped it once again. That is certainly a tale. And shout out a team that has overcome presumably a lot to pick up this win, and they've silenced a lot of people, I think, on the outside.
Probably the biggest win for the Pilgrims since Thanksgiving. So great for the program, to be honest with you. Historian might have been there when the Pilgrims won.
Yeah, he actually documented the last time. But in all seriousness, though, like the graphic is, or like I guess it's skewed in a sense, right? Like you said, like,
70 years, a little bit.
70 years.
It's a little
like,
clickbaity, but it's factual.
It is, right. But like, I always think like I'm so happy for those guys, right? The guys in that locker room. I mean,
That is big.
I know from experience, right? And I'm not. It's
not 70 years, but
not
yes.
70 years, but it's a terrible feeling, and I can only imagine that those guys are, they got a lot of momentum, dude. I would hate to be that team that plays them this week. Let me tell you that.
Certainly do.
Crims.
Certainly do. And now, boys, we're going to check in with Coach Howard, of course. He's not here to do his film room in person, fellas, but now let's check in with Seth and learn a little bit more about this Northwood offensive attack.
Yes, welcome back to the film room with myself. We got the iPad busted out. We're actually going to be looking at one of Northwood's offensive plays. So a lot of you have probably heard of an RPO, or a run pass option, where quarterback's got a run play and he can either hand that ball off to the running back or he can throw the ball out to maybe a bubble or a now screen. This is actually what's called a PRO, or a pass run option. So the quarterback is actually looking to pass first. Okay, and so in this particular PRO, we have 3 hitches called, okay? Not too crazy at this point, but the quarterback is going to ask himself a question here. Can I throw one of these 2 hitches, either this one or this one? Now, quarterback looks out there and says, oh no, we can't do that. We got man coverage right here. We got man coverage right here. You might say, Seth, this guy's playing way off right here. Now, I don't think that's probably a part of it, because that's a little bit longer of a throw. So he's probably really just looking at these 2 guys right here. Now we get man coverage. Quarterback makes a really, really good decision, a quick and fast decision. I like to call this ripping the draw. You don't want to just, hit the draw and might be nice to get 3 or 4 yards. No, we're ripping that draw with some force, with some intensity. Now, if we actually back up a little bit here, you're going to see this offensive lineman is leaking out to try to go find work. So he's going to go up and get to this Will linebacker right here. This Mike linebacker is actually flying out of there, thinking he's going to go tackle an RPO right here. But, right, he's sorely mistaken. He has no clue what's going on out here. So we get this offensive lineman leaking out. He gets hands on, does a great job. Now this running back, he thinks he's going to go block him, but this Mike linebacker is so confused. He has no idea where the ball is. This running back does a phenomenal job of going up and finding work. We actually get up to this middle safety right here. You don't see that a ton. Gets hands on. What I really like about this quarterback, he finishes forward, right, and turns this into an explosive play.
A massive thank you to Coach Howard checking in.
That was
program.
awesome,
Coach.
That was awesome.
Gruden-esque. We gotta
That's
get
what
the we gotta get the freaking iPad on the set here. Maybe that's next. The telestrator, is that what it is? That's what we need next on the show.
Here's a guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we need on the program. But first, fellas, we're talking line breakers today. The most ridiculous spreads, over-unders, numbers in all of college football, small school football, to be specific. And Cade, you're kicking us off here.
Yeah, and shout out Doug Coe, right? I mean, I've been hearing about this college since, East Jordan days.
Back at the GMAC was created.
Right? Like, he's had a sweatshirt. Give me Coe versus Dubuque today, right? The Cohawks.
Yes.
Give me their under, 57.7, right? These teams played last year. The Cohawks won. Go Hawks. They won 27-10, so obviously that is under 57. They've met 27 times lifetime, right? They averaged 29 points a contest combined, so, I mean, I'm a stats guy. I'm going to go off the stats, right? Coe has given up 21 or more points 2 times this year, and 1 was River Falls. So, I mean, River Falls, 21 points, that's like giving up 7 to a regular team, in my opinion.
The Cohawks, that's your pick. Drew, you've got maybe a little bit more of a drastic one. It has to do with the spread.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's a drastic one. 44 is the spread right now between the Bulldogs, the number 1 team in the nation, and a team that just gave up 52 points to the Michigan Tech Huskies, who at this point I've lost count how many times we've won in a row.
We're not doing that.
So
I think I know where this pick is
So
coming.
at the end of the day,
this is directly your fault. You were the one that took Ferris over the Dogs.
At the end of the
a
day,
hit.
the end of the day, in GLIAC play, Ferris State 4 games, 201 points, 41 points given up. They only gave up 31 last week. Do the math. 10 points in the other 3 games, and 2 of them were shutouts against Wayne State and Roosevelt. The Dogs are reeling. They just won a huge game, and the Cats just lost to the other Huskies. So at the end of the day, I think Ferris covers. I think this one's going to get ugly.
Go Cats, baby. Let's go. Come on.
Shout out to Hunter Chambers for I know he'd like that pick.
Cats certainly have a big-time challenge on the road. I'm taking the Division III route, boys. Give me MIT at WPI under 20.4 points. This might be the most drastic of our picks today, but I've got some really good reasoning why. This MIT defense, they went up against one of, I think we'd safe to say, one of the most exciting offenses to watch this year in the Coast Guard, what they've been able to do offensively with Hensley in the backfield. Only allowed 24 points to that talented group. That bodes well for my pick today and the under, guys. These teams, they average a combined 36 points per game. That would go to tell you this pick probably not going to hit, but I got a couple reasons why that might not be the case.
Is there a monsoon coming?
No natural disasters incoming. At least I have not had a premonition. The crystal ball has been tucked underneath safely under the desk. But I'll tell you this, WPI, they got the worst scoring offense right now in the GMAC. That bodes well for my pick. Also, MIT, they scored 28 points last week. Again, all these things to say this would be a bad pick, but I'll tell you right now, they had 4 interceptions. One of them for that defense was returned for a touchdown. If you're an offense that has a decent passing attack like MIT does, you're able to take advantage of a short field and a defensive touchdown, and you only score 28 points off 4 turnovers defensively? Give me the under here for this to hit. I think MIT, they have to turn the ball over twice. I think that's my number. MIT turns it over twice. Hopefully for WPI that happens. But, this is going to be a game. I think it's going to be a very, very low-scoring affair.
That's called a gut pick right there.
It is. That is. That's what this segment is all about. Dude.
It is, yeah.
It could be 3-2 like that old state championship back in the day.
West Bloomfield Clarkson.
Yes, it could be. But, Jake, what do you got?
I got New Mexico Highlands at Colorado School of Mines. Colorado School of Mines is favored by 28.5. Colorado School of Mines is currently on an 11-game win streak against the Highlands. However, Highlands comes into this with the #1 rushing offense in the RMAC, headed by Tavita Valetti, who has 880 yards, averaging 5.3 yards per carry, and he has 8 touchdowns. Now, Colorado School of Mines has statistically the second-best offense in the RMAC. So what Highlands needs to do to be able to cover that 28.5-point spread is they need to control the clock, limit how much time this School of Mines offense has the ball. And at the end of the day, I'm taking them to cover, but I'm also taking them to go into Golden, Colorado for the first time in 11 years. First time.
I'm with you here on this pick.
To beat Colorado School of Mines and set a new precedent. So I'm taking New Mexico Highlands to not only cover, but to win.
Did you just say Findlay?
Whoa, don't.
Colorado Mines, the Ore Diggers, this is not their they're not their year inside of the RMAC. They've gotten every team's best shot. You look at a team like Shadron State that went in there and got their first win in what feels like forever over this Mines team. I'm with you. I think New Mexico Highlands, this offense, what they've been able to do, I think it's more than enough to take down Mines today. It's still very much an underdog, but I think that's a great pick. Now, though, we're going to talk about Findlay, the Oilers. They have a program that tried and true has created a pipeline to the National Football League smack dab in the middle of Findlay, Ohio. Coach Allen and company have done an incredible job with setting up their players to play in Sundays, especially in recent history, boys. Let's talk about these guys. We'll start back in 1964. Odell Berry was coming off a phenomenal football and track and field career with the Oilers. He still holds some of the track and field records to this day. Once unofficially tied the world record 100-meter dash. Berry played for the Denver Broncos and went on to become Colorado's first black mayor of a major city. Alan Smith won a national championship at Findlay in 1965, led the nation in scoring with 108 points, went on to play in the AFL with the New York Jets and was under contract with 4 other teams during his playing career, fellas. But moving forward, you talk about a guy in Jason Moore, Findlay's all-time receiving leader. He made his way onto the Chargers' 53-man roster as an undrafted free agent in 2019 and earned his way onto the practice squad before then. Had a lot of good stints there in the league. The offensive line, they become the focal point for the Oilers and the pros. It started with Andrew Dickinson. He signed by the Arizona Cardinals in 2020, 3-time All-Conference selection, started in 46 games in his time with the Oilers here at Findlay. Then you go to Andrew Ogletree. That's a recent name you guys might be aware of. Played 3 years as a wide receiver, actually, at Findlay. Finished his college career at D1 Youngstown State as a tight end for the Penguins, from which he was drafted by the Colts back in 2022. That brings us to now, though, boys. And we're talking about a guy, and there he is, Mike Jarrell, drafted by the Seahawks just last year. He was the only Division II player, only small school player taken in the entire draft, 6th round, pick 207, for a player that returned to Findlay after some poaching attempts from top Division I programs. There were 3 others from last year's team that would go on to sign NFL deals, though. Tight end Mike Rigerman signed with the Baltimore Ravens as a UDFA. We've got wide receiver Red Douglas, who accomplished the same feat with the New York Giants. And then, of course, to close the deal, the offensive lineman Yosef Carter put pen to paper with the Washington Commanders. And, boys, there are even more players that are not on this list that are honestly should be deserved to be mentioned. But to be honest with you, I just ran out of breath.
I got one that might not be a professional in the NFL, right? But in his own career. How about Vernon Burden?
Yes, I see. Yes,
I
absolutely. Shout
out
Coach
forgot
Burden.
that, but hey, Coach Burden, what an absolute gem of a guy,
And went on to play after college as well.
And I'll tell
Certainly
you
had
what,
a career.
I would not want to be lying across from that guy. I've seen him lift, right? He was in Lake Orion weight room lifting with us. I mean, the guy, he still got it, too.
Johnny Harris, the DB for Findlay, guys, he said that Coach Allen does a great job of developing his players as men, and that is something that has separated them from other schools in the past, that whether it's the NFL, the UFL, the CFL, shoot, the freaking European Football League, when they show up in Findlay, they know the quality of man and the quality of person they are getting from that program, guys. But let's move forward and continue into what should be a pretty fun segment here. We've got our under-the-radar games, boys, and this is one I'm pretty excited about. Jake, I think you're starting us off. We're talking about teams that are not ranked and teams that, as the title suggests, may be flying under the radar.
All right, so we're going back into another history lesson.
Cold War. This is good.
1812.
All right, so we're going to Bates and Bowdoin.
There we go.
I know it's pronounced Bowdoin. I learned that this morning on the drive up here. But they are a part of a consortium with another school called Colby College. All 3 schools are together, and students can take courses at any of the 3 schools. So just imagine, yesterday you're in class, you're playing for Bowdoin, and Bates Safety is sitting next to you, and you guys are just like, yeah, see you tomorrow, man.
Believe it or not, that is not the only consortium in D3 football.
Really?
There are multiple. There's one out west as well. There's 3 different schools on the same campus. I don't know why, but
that's pretty sweet.
It's not a unique deal. There's a couple of them. It's wild. Yeah.
Now, Bowdoin is the leader of the consortium games, which they call the CBB games every year. Okay. They have won it 20 times. And then looking at Bates and Bowdoin specifically, it is known to be one of the oldest rivalries in all of college football.
Hello.
This is the 127th meeting between the 2 programs, a rivalry in which Bowdoin leads 69-50-7. They have also won the last 2 meetings. Now, I expect this to be an absolute defensive showdown.
Okay.
All right.
That's to say he's not expecting a lot of scoring, boys. Offense is not
3-2.
Yes.
Great game.
Yes.
Great football.
Bates has the number 1 and number 2 leading tacklers in the NESCAC, led by Ryan Rosich. And listen, this is one of my favorite names, Carmel Crunk.
Sounds like a cereal.
That has to be an NIL deal in the making. And Mr. Crunk, if you're not on that, we certainly will be on that from Division I Rejects. Get in touch with us, our people, and we're going to set that up and make that
Our people, you're looking at them,
yeah.
so.
And then just looking at Bowdoin's defense, they have the leader in both TFLs and sacks in Angus Leary. So expect this to be a battle of 2 really good defenses. And at the end of the day, this is the 127th meeting. Let's see who wins this one today, boys.
I love that.
Man, that's awesome.
That was a great one. And I had a great pick here. We're going to talk about this one, the Dakota Railroad rivalry. And I told the guys, I said, try and top that. You might have done that, my friend, but this is an incredible one. The Dakota Railroad rivalry. That's Mount Marty, Dakota Wesleyan. And, fellas, they're playing for this trophy. This is on the line today. This thing is absolutely phenomenal. A very new rivalry, so to speak. The rivalry officially started in 2024 with the induction of that trophy right there. It's only the 5th all-time meeting, actually, between these 2 schools. So like I said, a very recent deal. Mount Marty didn't even add football until 2020. So this rivalry came about, of course, post-COVID. And I think there's room for some great historic rivalries. There's also some room for some great new school rivalries, fellas. And this one has not disappointed. Yankton and Mitchell, South Dakota, they're roughly an hour and a half apart, so pretty close geographically speaking. 2023, this game went into double overtime. 2024, they also needed an extra period of football. 4 quarters is not enough for these two teams. It certainly could be the case as well today. Mount Marty currently 1-0 in the official rivalry, of course, talking about last year when the trophy was quote-unquote invented or since its inception, Drew.
Absolutely. And college football is all about rivalries, right?
100%.
You look at the difference between D2, D1, D3. One thing that remains the same is rivalries. However, that's not what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about my boys from Arkansas Tech, the Wonder Boys that we talked about this summer going over the D2 deep dives about conferences. Yep. The Wonder Boys from Arkansas Tech are 5-3. Why is that important? Because they can clinch their first winning season since 2017 this weekend.
Hello.
With Southern Nazarene coming up, who's 1-7, and Oklahoma Baptist, who's 2-6. I'm not saying we're looking over anybody, and I'm saying we because I am a part of the Wonder Boys community. You got then Harding, the last week of the season. You want to make some noise for yourself? You beat Harding to go finish the season. You go 8-3 for the Wonder Boys. Here we go. I'm just saying. They have a guy, Sam Jackson, not the actor. He's just the football player. At the end of the day, he's leading the league leading them in tackles. Bryson Rowland is a 5'8", 170-pound freshman. Shout out Short Kings, Jake. He's averaging 75 on the ground. Dog. I'm taking them to win today and to cover 14.5 points. Let's go Wonder Boys.
Did we seriously just...
What just happened?
Absolutely.
I feel like I'm not the only short king on this stage. So.
Did he just diss us, bro? Like,
but even crazier, you just took him to win over Harding.
I didn't say that. I said you could.
3 weeks.
Listen. I said you could. At the end of the day, I didn't pick that. I'll pick that in 3 weeks.
Okay, fair enough.
But they're winning today.
I will say the Wonder Boys, 2 statement wins over some teams we're going to talk about very shortly here, Henderson State and Washita. They've done a great job, and what Coach Roy has done over there has been phenomenal. Are they to Harding's level? To be determined.
Yeah.
We'll just say to be determined.
Don't forget about Sam Jackson.
No, I will not. I certainly will not. But, Cade, what do you have to close us out here?
Yeah, so I got a pretty good one, too, if I wouldn't say so myself. The Battle Axe rivalry, right? Bemidji State versus Minnesota State Moorhead. The series between the two teams dates back to 1929. There's a nice little fun fact over there. The traveling trophy known as the Battle Axe was introduced in 1948. So there was a little gap there where they didn't really play for a physical trophy. Okay. It's an ancient weapon-type axe from the village of Mount Hagen in New Guinea. It was handmade and polished underwater. And Kobe and I have a conversation. He's like, they weren't, like, scuba diving down there and, like, welding it. I'm like, dude, how do you know? Like, I don't know what they got going in New Guinea. I've seen Thor, right? I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff happen with hammers.
Stormbreaker could be the next iteration
but,
of this.
But, dude, I mean, talk about a great rivalry and also, hoisting that thing at the end of it, right?
Yes.
For the axe part of the rivalry, so the physical part of the trophy, Moorhead leads the series 38-33 to 3. Ooh. Okay. It's 38-33 and 3. That was
there we go.
There we go.
Okay, I was a little confused there at the end of it. But we're going to go now to a feature on one of the players from Northwood. We're talking about offensive tackle Kevin Brown. He struggled with a very tough start to his academic beginning of high school, struggled to rebound, forced him to take the JUCO route, and he still had hope of playing football at the college level. He never expected that his road to playing college football here in 2025 would come with more obstacles than he could ever imagine.
Going into Sam Houston, I mean, it was truly just different with COVID. We didn't actually have a fall season that year. We actually ended up having a spring season. Right before the spring season started, I ended up having COVID. COVID stuck with me for about 5 weeks. It was a lot harder for me, especially because I couldn't go into class. I didn't see anybody for about a month or so. And right when I guess had my scheduled physical to return to football, they said that I had atrial fibrillation in my heart. I did a follow-up at my doctor, my physician back home, and they ran all the tests and they said my heart was perfectly fine, it was healthy. So now it led me to believe, okay, so what's really going on? Like, what happened? It turned out it was stuff going on, like basically with my stomach and stuff like that. Like, it wasn't as serious as it was, diagnosed.
Yeah.
So that kind of cost me my entire season. With everything that had happened in that small year, I actually went up to 515 pounds. Just pure depression, eating, struggling mentally. The head coach, Coach Casey Keeler, called my mom and told her, like, hey, look, Kevin is really struggling mentally. Like, he's gained some weight. It's hard. It's not his fault. Like, I see that he really cares. But it's hard for us to be hands-on. I think he should go home and, really just reset, basically. All my childhood coaches and my junior college coach, they all honestly stuck with me, kept giving me opportunities to show up, lose weight, resharpen my tools to get back to the football field. Coach B, just being the man he is, he reached out to me. He was like, hey, we see your film, and this is going off of my junior college film because I didn't have any Sam Houston film. So he's really trusting, like, hey, this kid was 17 or 18 in these clips. Can he still do this, a couple years later? He believed in me. He told me, like, hey, we're gonna try to get you out here and let's see what happens. And then last year, by I believe August or late July of 2024, I was very close to actually ended up going to an NAIA Graceland University. Because I was like, well, this is my last shot. And I was more than willing to just, prove to the world I could still do it. Coach B calls me literally a day after I say, hey guys at Graceland, like, let's do it, He calls me and he's like, hey, Kev, we have the money. We can get you here. We want you here. We believe in you. Let's do it. I told my mom, she was like, let's do it. You're with Jake. This is, they have your major. Like, let's do it. Like, this is the school for you, basically. I get here in 2024. I was still 465 pounds. So I had to sit out last year and I redshirted. Within this past year, I got all the way down to 365 now. So I lost 100 pounds just being out here with Coach B and Coach Winter and, Coach Jordan coming in and really helping me in just every way, like losing weight, giving me tips, just technique-wise. That's the new line coach. Coach B, I can't thank him enough to take a chance on me and give me the opportunity to be here right now. I can't really, there's not many people out there that could probably even do the same. Now we're winning ball games and we're just getting better each week, and that's really all I could ask for.
That's a look at one of 2 touchdowns that Kev scored, and that is a really incredible story and a lot of perseverance, fellas. And as we quickly go through and continue talking, take a look at the tailgate here at Northwood as we get ahead of a 12 o'clock kick. We're going to quickly mention another game day show that might be making a trip to the Battle of the Ravine. College Game Day, their flagship program of ESPN, teased the idea of going to this rivalry. Ouachita Baptist, Henderson State, 5 straight games decided by a touchdown or less. There was a 12-year stoppage in play due to the prank wars and an actual kidnapping that took place in this rivalry, boys.
That's awesome.
One of the oldest in college football started in 1895. The team stadiums across the ravine and Highway 67. No buses needed, boys. Just a walk down Russell Drive and Highway 67. Gus Malzahn played wide receiver at Henderson State. The late, great Mike Leach coached against both of these rivals in stadiums early in his career. This year is the 98th edition of the game. And if you take a look at the actual map, fellas, you'll see just how close these 2 programs are. And if we weren't already booked for this weekend, fellas, I think we'd be making a trip out to the Battle of the Ravine.
We're booked, Kobe? Where?
We would be very excited about that. But this is an incredible matchup. We certainly hope that College Game Day makes their way out to the Battle of the Ravine. But, yeah, Cade, as I mentioned, that's November 15th. Unfortunately for us, we're actually booked for that weekend, boys, and we've got a very exciting announcement here as I stall and pull up the graphic.
Let's go.
November 15th, D1 Rejects is heading to Fenway Park for the 45th Secretary's Cup game between the U.S. Coast Guard Academy and U.S. Merchant Marine, boys.
Ever
One
heard
of the
Fenway?
most unique games in all of college football. U.S. Coast Guard Academy, U.S. Merchant Marine, Kings Point, the 45th edition of their annual rivalry game. The twist this year, it's being played in Fenway Park. Small School Saturday, live from the outfield of Fenway Park, right in front of the Green Monster. This is going to be a weekend, a matchup, an experience unlike any in all of college football. We'll be doing a show live right there in the middle of the outfield, boys, highlighting these two very unique service academies. We're going to get some incredible guests to join us live from the desk. A lot of incredible pageantry with both of these programs, boys. I am so pumped.
Dude, what an opportunity. Who would have thought, right? We'd be going to freaking Fenway Park in front of the Green Monster.
Not me.
We're going to be in front of the Green Monster,
From
dude.
the
That's one
dorms of Northern Michigan to the outfield of Fenway Park.
One of the most historic
Jimmers and Sarah
stadiums.
Manzo.
Yes. So
Don't forget
officially,
Sarge.
we will be heading to Fenway Park November 15th for this incredible matchup. Cannot wait to tune in for hopefully what will be an incredible matchup, and we hope that you tune in to our live broadcast from Fenway. Guys, that is going to be a very exciting one. Now, we're going to cut to a quick break. On the other side of that break, we'll be joined by the head coach of the Oilers, Coach Corey Allen.
Let's go, man.
Coming back now on Small School Saturday, we are joined live at the desk by an AFCA Good Works nominee, the head coach of the Findlay Oilers. It's Corey Allen. Coach.
Hey, Kobe, good to see you. Glad to be here, guys. Good to be up here with you.
Absolutely.
We are
Thanks for coming, Coach.
excited to have you here, Coach. And how about the scene behind us here? Maybe a little bit of an unfavorable crowd.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. I brought my son over here for security. He goes, hey, he goes, Dad, he goes, look at some of those pictures they got of you over there.
That is incredible, Coach. We're so excited to have you on the program. This matchup is one that it's 13-13 all today. Today is the difference maker in terms of who comes out ahead of this matchup. Playing in Midland has been a challenge for you guys as of late. What is it about this place and environment that you think maybe has given you guys a rough streak?
Well, I mean, I think every year is a new entity, right?
Start off with a hard hitter, right? Immediately, we're
well,
right into it.
But let's peel back that onion and talk about it a little bit. I think every team is a new football team, and I think 2 years removed from when we last came up here, and certainly it was a great college football game up here in 23, and they came away with what I really thought was a statement win for them, and we fell short, had multiple opportunities to win the game, and we didn't. Ultimately, that's what we didn't do. But when you start looking at the history and you go back past that, this team has no ties to other than that alumni base. This is a different football team.
100%. And there's totally new teams on either side of the ball. Talk with your defensive back, Johnny Harris. Talked about the way that you guys not only develop talented players down there, of course. Talked about the NFL pipeline. You're developing men, and that's been a big piece of your program and your culture there. How has those impact been made for those guys going to the next level? What do you attribute that pipeline to the next level? How have you been able to be a part of handcrafting that down at Findlay?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things we talk about with our team and our coaching staff all the time is we're not going to sell our soul to win. We're going to win because we have a soul. And I think that matters to us in this program. But then from a development standpoint, we're so fortunate. We have Coach Chad Wagner, our head strength and conditioning coach, has been there for over 20 years. I make the joke with recruits, like he put the last brick in the arch when it was put up in like 1884 on the front of campus. Like this guy's been there forever. You snap him open, he bleeds orange and black. He is pivotal in the development of our players and getting them those opportunities to go at the next level.
And we talked before, and we talked about Mike going on to the next level, about not only developing but retaining top talent. And in today's modern era of college football, retaining that talent, keeping them on your roster, how do you balance, what is your philosophy in giving them every possible route to succeed at the next level wherever they are playing, while also trying to keep these guys on the roster, man?
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's no NIL in Findlay, Ohio. We give them fruit snacks and granola bars. as many of them as they want. You know what I mean? Like, it just, we make that joke all the time, but I think it's got to happen naturally. I think in 2025, they use that word organically, right? Like, we have to make it so that they want to stay and they want to be a part of something. And I think that's important. I think we've had some guys over the past couple years, and, you know, maybe you're not supposed to say this on some of the guys that have left that have made the decision to leave have come back and told the guys that are on the roster, I should have never done that. Wow. I had it really good right there. You know, maybe that logo's a little bit bigger, maybe the stadium's a little bit bigger where they went, but the experience they had wasn't as valuable as what they had with us. And so even the guys that stay, like a Mike Riggerman or a Mike Jarrell, but even guys that had left later on in their career, they've been valuable to us.
And you talk about some of those changes. That the NIL, you've already addressed that one. The transfer portal, certainly a part of that. All the changes coming with college football. What change in maybe the last decade to half decade has been one of the more challenging ones for you and your staff, and how have you started to navigate that?
Well, I think getting into right now, just in the last 2 years, they've added in the 3 games to redshirt. Now it's 4 games to redshirt. So there's a lot of conversations that are going on at the Division II level in season.
And now it might be gone for good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the NCAA changes nonstop. I mean, all due respect to our friends in Indianapolis, but they are moving that needle all the time. And so realistically, just trying to stay up with that. And so I think what you need to do is you need to have a program that's grounded, right, that has an established culture, and you need to not waver from that because the outside's going to constantly change.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep, 100%. You can control what happens in those 4 walls, right, whatever that's the facility walls.
Yeah.
Cade, what do you got for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, first of all, you know, we were talking before, but thank you so much for coming on. You know, just hearing you talk, you sound, you got the tone of a football guy, you know, and I love that, right? And just a couple questions for you here. Nothing that's going to, you know, really break your skull. But what do you think separates a good team, right, from a championship caliber team? And kind of a B question to that, how does your squad, compared to previous teams, you know, fall into that championship caliber?
Yeah, I think the ability to play with violence, I think the ability to stay in the fight, right? I think that if you look at a football team, if you want to be playing championship football in November, you need to be more concerned with the fight and less concerned with the outcome. The outcome is what everybody else wants to look at. It's what everybody up here wants to talk about, and that's what makes for good TV, and that's what fans want to talk about. We want to prove it inside of those 60 minutes. We want to be about the fight, not the outcome.
Yeah, I love that you said that, too, because we had a coach that used to say event plus reaction equals outcome.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Sure.
And I'm sure Coach Burden's heard that one, you know, quite a few times, too. So
that might be an ink somewhere.
He might have wrote it on the walls of Troy Athens.
Yeah,
it might be.
Sure.
It might be on the walls of Athens over there. So.
Absolutely. And, Coach, we talked about, you know, hostile environment. You guys, though, there's a lot of good things to talk about with this squad. 8-0. What is the expectation today, though, for this hostile environment and this crowd that is starting to form here at Northwood?
Here we go. Here we go.
Listen, we got nothing to lose, right? We're the misfits. We're just glad to be here. All right? And when that ball kicks at noon, it's Oiler football time. We're good to go.
I love that, man. I absolutely love that. And this team is 8-0, and I think that the thing about that is there's a lot of different ways you can be 8-0. You guys have taken a little bit of an unconventional route to this point. Some weeks, it's the offense. Some weeks, that offense has laid a little bit of an egg, but the defense has stepped up. You guys have won a lot of gritty and grimy football games. What do you attribute that to, and how have you been able to come out on top of a lot of those one-score contests?
Yeah, I think there's that team mentality, but we talked about it like our program. You heard like Lennon Claxton say, one team, one team, one team. We're not going to talk about being a family. We're not going to break on being a family. We're going to recognize that it's really hard to put a team together. Yeah. Everybody coming into our program for different reasons and inspired in different ways to come in there and to put a team together, that's a hard thing. guys coming from different backgrounds, different areas of the country, and we want to put a team together, and people rely on each other right now, and we've been through it, and it started with that Indianapolis game right away early in the year.
It did, and that's the most, marquee win right now on your schedule. Of course, today we could certainly add to that list with the Oilers here, but talking with those guys like London and Johnny and Tristan, these guys, they all talked about this mantra, this saying this year of prove it. Where does that come from? What does that mean to this group?
Well, I think that we've been a talented team over the past couple years in this league, and I think that you get to the point where when you've had guys sign NFL contracts and get drafted and do those other things, we've put a winning program together, okay? But now that idea and that mindset is, look, if we think we're the best, it's simple. Go prove it.
Yeah,
prove it in practice, prove it in the meeting room, prove it in the weight room, prove it in the classroom, and then prove it on Saturdays. That's what we want to do.
The offensive line has certainly been a focal point of this team in recent history, mostly because you've had the opportunity to play some of those guys at the next level. Yeah. What is the mindset of that group, that front five, the physicality? I know London talked about it a little bit. He said his descriptor for this team, and while he doesn't play in that unit, his descriptor was violent. This is a violent team in all the right ways, in between the white lines and the whistles. Sure. Very violent, but talk about that group specifically and what they've impressed you with in 2025.
Yeah, on the offensive line, I think there's a standard that's been established, and it goes all the way back, NCAA-wise into our GLIAC days, and guys like Chris Reaper and Justin Music, who's a Grand Blanc native up here, and just we've had Bobby Brown. It just goes on and on with Logan Bailey. We've had multiple linemen of the year in the conference, but it's a smart, intelligent, and physical style of play. Yeah. There's a certain type of offensive lineman that we're looking for in our program, and we have another group of those guys right now, and I'm proud of them.
I love that. And now finally, I guess, to talk a little bit about the bad, what's something that this Northwood team does well you have to prepare for today?
They're an extremely detailed, disciplined football team. They are multiple on both sides of the ball, right? So they're not only have they recruited well and brought in a lot of good talent, they're also very, very multiple with that talent on and in all three phases. I think that they play in a style that may come across as a little bit of chaos once in a while, but it's not. It's controlled, it's detailed, it's disciplined. I would say that maybe in some sort of a different world, the head coach over there and I would get along just fine. But that's not the way it is. But not today. Ton of respect for what he's done since he's got here. I'm a Division III guy myself originally, and then when they made this hire here, I said, boys, we got another program in the GMAC. So awesome. A lot of respect for what's been going on up here in Northwood.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. The head coach of the Findlay Oilers, Coach Corey Allen.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Really appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Coach Allen's got the fan club behind us as well here ahead of a 12 o'clock kick. Northwood and Findlay taking the field in one of the biggest games, fellas, in recent history in the GMAC. Now, before we get treated here to a little food on the set, I want to talk about this Findlay team a little bit more, and one guy in particular. Sam Wyrow is a guy on this team. He's a captain. He's a multiple-time all-GMAC selection on the defense for this Oilers squad. He led the team in tackles last fall. He's got an incredible year already in 2025. His involvement with the orange and black, though, fellas, that is so much deeper rooted than just his playing career in Findlay.
Parents met here back in the day. My dad played football here. He won a couple national championships, was a really good player for them. And throughout high school, I stayed in Findlay. After I graduated, went to a couple colleges, and when I came on my visit here, I don't know, still, even though it was home, it felt more home where I wanted to spend my college experience. As parents, they want me to stay close to home, but I guess that wasn't really their driving factor. They wanted me to find a place where I was comfortable, and that place just happened to be 20 minutes down the road. It's come to Findlay to win. That's the goal. That's the mindset. No matter what sport, this is what you come here for. You come here to get a great education and great athletic experience.
And your younger brother, it sounds like he made his debut a couple weeks ago.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So he's been through the ringer, through a couple of injuries, but whatnot. I had to do a little bit of convincing to get him to come here, but yeah, it was a good time. Excited to have him part of the team and excited that he's here. It's good to have someone that you've grown up with your whole entire life with by your side every step of the way. But I'll say this is no joke. This season, this is the first time we've ever been in pads on the same field together, just because of all adversity and stuff like that. No matter, we're only 2 years apart, but this is the very first time that we've been together in pads. So it was a special moment for my parents, definitely, and for us too. It's exciting that when my brother makes a play, I can go celebrate with him, and if I make a play, he can come celebrate with me. It's a fun little experience, that's for sure. Football kind of runs in our blood, so been good to teach them. It's been good to learn from our father and things like that. From a leadership role, like I'm happy to see that we're able to battle when things aren't going our way. We're a family here. This is something bad happens to your family, you're going to do everything in your power to defend that family, you know? So I think if something happens to my brother next to me, we're going to make sure that the other 10 brothers, we're coming to get back. I don't know. We're defending each other. We're a family. We're going to support each other in everything that we do.
That is the short story on the Wyrau family. Their impact on Findlay has been immeasurable through all ways. Dad, a national champion, All-American. Mom, a track and field athlete.
Look at this.
And now the Wyrau brothers making their mark on Findlay in that program. Fellas, before we cut to another great guest conversation as the tailgate picks up here in Northwood and ahead of a great 12 o'clock kick, we got to shout out our friends at the Grand Traverse Pie Company. Check out what they have just dropped by the set.
Oh, my gosh, man.
We've got pumpkin pie for the boys, the small school Saturday crew.
That is sweet, dude.
I'm still a
getting
rewards
treated
member.
like royalty here in Midland, Michigan. Would you take a look at that? We've got the entire platter. I don't know if I can pick this up. Can I pick this up, fellas, and show this without all these dropping?
Oh, you got a D1R cookie, a Northwood cookie.
A Findlay deal. It's got to and the glare is insane. But you can trust that there is, Allie, cut to my camera real quick, please. Check that out. Oh,
there
phone
you go.
A little bit.
Look at that.
Shout out to our friends at the Grand Traverse Pie Company. We certainly are going to be digging into a little local flavor here on Small School Saturday.
Absolutely.
But before that, we're going to cut to a short break. After that break, we will be joined by the head coach of the Northwood Timberwolves, Coach Dustin Buer.
The man of the hour.
This place absolutely coming alive ahead of what will undoubtedly be one of the biggest games in Division II football today. We will see you and Coach Buer on the other side. We're back in Midland, Michigan with the head coach of the Northwood Timberwolves, Coach Dustin Buer. Coach, this is incredible.
At home?
Well, there's a couple people.
That is not going to happen with what you've done with this program. This environment is coming alive ahead of what is undoubtedly going to be just another inflection point for you in this Northwood program. Thank you so much for joining us, man. We're so pumped to have you.
Fired up for you guys.
What do you guys
being
think,
here.
Coach Buer, the impact he's had on this program? We are so pumped to have you join us here at the desk, and I think what's really fun to talk about is this word, of course, of rebuild. To you, is this still a rebuild, or have the Timberwolves arrived?
We will never arrive. Ask these guys out there that have all played for me. I get to see some guys who played for us back at Albion, some that came up to Northwood. Bimba's out there. We'll never arrive, right, guys? You'll never arrive. Yes, and I think you always got to have that mentality in life and when you're playing sports, athletics, everything, that the second you think you arrived, you're going to get knocked down a peg or two. So we will never arrive.
I love that, absolutely. And boys, I'm going to kick it right to you. Drew, what do you got for Coach, and what can you ask him ahead of a matchup like this today?
Well, first off, absolutely pumped that you're here. Absolutely pumped that we're here to be here for this event. A big thing to get here, though, is the strength and conditioning program. My brother is an athlete at Saginaw Valley. Sorry, everybody. but he tells me stories about this new strength coach you got, Coach Winters. How important is a strength program to the Northwood football team?
It's everything. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to be aligned when you're in the weight room, and there's so many details that you need to follow in there, and I think that it starts with the strength conditioning program. He's with those guys a lot of the months, especially in the summer months, and when it's 95 degrees and it's humid out here on the fields in Midland, Michigan in the middle of the summer, it gets sweltering here, right? But we had over 60 guys end up staying here this summer, and that grew from, I think, my first summer here, I think 28 guys stayed consistently. So seeing that growth, and it's just they believe in the process that he's put out for them to follow. I can't say enough. He's somewhat like a counselor, mental health counselor for me, and then I'll counsel him with how he has to coach his kid up, his own personal kid. Absolutely. And we just go back and forth, and every Friday we usually have our shrink session together. So then we're feeling good going on a Saturday. But we're incredibly aligned with what we want and the expectation we have for the guys, and you're starting to see it pay off a little bit.
Awesome. You're certainly starting to see that pay off in more ways than one. This is the best crowd by far that we have ever had for a small school Saturday show.
Love it.
Just an incredible contingency here at Northwood, Coach, and it hasn't always been the case. 2024 was the first winning season for this program in 7 years. You're talking about more than a full recruiting class that didn't know maybe how to win at a consistent level. They've been competitive in this conference or the GLIAC, of course, then longer than that. How do you take a team in a program like that, help them get over the hump, and help them learn to know what it means to win at a consistent level?
You got to do hard things together, right? And it started at year one, and I'm not trying to bring up old stuff.
Yeah, okay,
that Findlay win year one, when those guys overcame some really bad situational things, and thankfully, it's not. We had good clock management that game, and we had 3 timeouts left at the end to give us a chance to win. And then I remember being in that locker room and seeing some 60-year senior guys of. Man, that's the biggest win of my career, and to think you've gone through 6 years and to get to that point was awesome. It's always about seeing what these guys can accomplish and do things together. And I think the next one was that first year we played at Hillsdale, and then I don't know if you guys remember a team meeting we had in the turf building right when we got back.
Text everyone off the bus.
Off the bus. Don't put your stuff in your locker. We need to have a chit chat. And it was really like, we were on the way home. I talked to Coach Arnold. I was like, man, why were we so bad on the road today? And then he's like, well, none of these guys have won a road game. I'm like, didn't know that. So that was the first road win. And so there were just these little steps in the process. Then we put together a 3-game win streak at the end of the year one. Then you get into year two. I think we were in the hunt for a lot of games. We didn't, we were a little inconsistent. I think there was a belief that we could turn the corner. And then coming into this year, it's been a blast. I mean, it's about getting the right people on the ship, right? And I think from the beginning, maybe you're steering the ship for people a little bit and holding on for dear life. It's kind of like when the airplane's about to go down, you're like, oh my God, here we go, hang on. And then as things have gone on, now they're steering the ship, and you just kind of are. I'm not very anyone sail here. I don't want to sound like an idiot, but like you're kind of adjusting the sails a little bit occasionally.
I would not call myself a pro.
Yeah, I haven't. I've driven a pontoon once, so like that's tough in the wind. So like you just steer that pontoon back into the dock and get it to the shore, right? So.
And let me tell you this boat right now, if we're staying in this analogy right here, this boat is sailing strong, and it's sailing with the wind now as opposed to against it. I imagine these guys on either side, like the old school Viking ship, just manning the oars as they keep going forward. You can't spell Northwood without the W. What has impressed you so much? Let's talk about this team. What has impressed you so much about this team in 2025, their resiliency and their ability to go out and succeed in even the most adverse situations?
I think coming back from the Ashland loss, that was not a really good representation of who we wanted to be as a program. And I think coming off, and I think seeing our offense take storm a little bit. Our defense has been real solid here for the past couple of years, and so seeing the offense grow and progress has been huge for us. And I think just watching all of that come together, and I think the number one traits that great teams have is there is a connection, right?
Yeah.
There's a strong connection and belief in one another, and there cannot be any ego. And I think this is the first year out of the 3 where it's not about I got to get mine in this era where everybody wants to get there. So I understand that too, all right? But making sure, like, hey, there's going to be a different guy who shows up every week, and that's going to make us harder to defend. I think our preparation has gone to another level. That starts in the weight room. That goes to how we take care of our locker room. That goes to how our guys interact with each other on a daily basis. And I'm going to tell you, the best teams I've ever been around, you've been around some good teams when you were in high school at Lake Orion and stuff, they're weirdos.
Not that good. Not that good.
They are. They're
good enough to be
Yeah,
Oxford.
I remember you guys. Oh, good enough to beat Oxford. I didn't mean to bring that
Not
up.
this
But,
year.
okay.
Not this year.
I understand. You guys had a good year, man. But, like, they're strange together, right?
Yes.
And it's funny to watch those guys, and they're fun to be around. And, like, there's just when you wake up in the morning as a coach and you're excited to go into the office every day to be around young people that enjoy each other, enjoy each other's company. It's a fun thing to be around, and you typically are going to have success that follows that.
We just did a feature on Kevin, of course, and his addition, it cannot be measured and on the field. The obstacles he's had to overcome, but he was so quick to say and thank you. You were the first guy that, in his eyes, that truly believed in him without having much to go off of, whether it was just his JUCO tape, didn't have anything from Sam Houston to send over. You took a chance on him. He's been a big part of this offensive line. What can you tell me about his impact that he's had and the physical mindset that front five has played with?
Well, it starts with, I think there was a good growth process over the first couple of years. Then our offensive line coach, Coach Burton, went up to Ferris, and we had to get the right guy in to continue that growth pattern. And Coach Loeffler's done a phenomenal job with that group in a short amount of time, making sure they are even tighter than they've ever been. Now, Kevin Brown, I got 5 videos of him on a field pass setting at 456 pounds. And I was like, unbelievable feat, right?
Yeah.
So, hey, let's get your butt here. Let's see if we can get things rolling. And he's completely changed the left side of our offensive line as far as with his pass protection. He's getting better and better daily with his run blocking and stuff. The guy's gone from 456 pounds to 371 pounds in a year. And that's a testament to him and what he wanted and his desires and the people that are around him between, starting with Coach Burton now to Coach Loeffler, and then specifically the time he spent with Coach Winter has been phenomenal.
And you won't say it, but I'll say it. That's a testament to you and this coaching staff, instilling belief in these guys. He said you were the first guy he felt that truly believed in him coming out of that what was a dark time in his life, and you've been that light for a lot of guys on this roster. I want to know, how has the community involvement and support really injected itself into this program, and what is the expectation for the environment
You
today?
get a little emotional because you see these guys out here that I coached back at Albion, when this all started, and I was just a slap young Division III coach, and I could see these guys here and then be able to see these guys like Bimba and you two being here who were a part of the first part of the process. And then we haven't accomplished anything at the end of the day, but to get people excited about Northwood football again and now make people understand we're here and we are here for it and we're going to be here for it and we're going to be here for it for a long time as long as I'm here.
Lock the gates.
It's a cool feeling, man. And, it doesn't come without butting heads and friction and stuff. Shoot, our best leader on our team's Cole Simpson, and him and I probably almost got in a fist fight at the beginning of the year of like, how do we want this to go? But at the end of the day, we had to have a sit down and have a therapy, and my wife calls them restorative conversations. I'm getting better at that in my age, but and I look at these guys. I had restorative conversations with a bunch of these guys out there at some point in their career, but it's about demanding the best out of people, seeing a higher ability out of everybody. And like when I go back to that thing with Cole, we wanted the same things, and we're aligned, and our team's aligned right now. And, hey, we weren't supposed to be here at the end of the day. We weren't. And I tell those guys, you're playing with house money, baby. Let's go let it rip. So that's what we're here to do. At the end of the day, there's 3 games left in the season. This is one step closer to what we want to accomplish as a program. We were at Mass this morning, and the priest, I thought, did a great job in his sermon talking about really saying, hey, like, the pinnacle of your life can't just be a championship or trying to get to the Hall of Fame. It's about how you do things and how you treat people and how you are as people. And I like, hey, it's beyond this right now. Like, I'm just excited to get Noon here. Can we get Noon here right now, really quick? So
got people ready to run through a wall.
If you needed any more reinforcement of that and the pinnacle of life being the way that you interact with others, the way that you positively benefit the people around you, man, you said it. Look around. These are guys that came up, yes, to support Northwood, yes, to be here for a great game, but to see their coach and to see the guy that helped to put them in a better place in life and gave them some of the most memorable years, whether it was their playing career or their life in general. You are the man, and they have come out to support you and this team.
Great people with a like vision can accomplish great things together. You gotta get people moving in the same direction. I think if there's one thing that I've been able to do in my life is try to round up the troops, whether that when I was a younger guy, probably in the wrong direction a little bit, and now that I've had a little more purpose in life, we're doing it in the right direction. But it's exciting. I'm excited for the parents. I'm excited for the players. At the end of the day, we gotta get some things accomplished here today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. Head coach of the Timberwolves, Dustin Buer.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
You're the man.
Appreciate you.
Let's hear it for Coach. I mean, to be very honest with you guys, I don't know how you go ahead and top that. I mean, just an incredible human.
Is there a wall for someone to run through right now?
Can we set up multiple walls for the crew to collectively go through?
Hey, I wanted to tell him this personally, but I didn't have a question for him. But I think something huge in today's world, especially college football, is a grown man like that who shows vulnerability. Right. Yeah. I think that I've never, had personal connections with Coach, but everyone I've been around has nothing but the highest praise for that man. And if nothing, he just gained, the utmost respect from me. And I'm shit. This team's gonna come out firing today. This team's gonna come out firing. I hope they got it on. I hope they got it on in the locker room, and they just saw their coach come up here and said what he did. Because if I was them, it's like, hey, there's no freaking way we're losing this game.
I remember back to the first team meeting we had back here.
Oh my God!
In January when he first got onto campus, and he had all 55 of us ready to run through a brick wall.
Heck yeah!
We felt that belief from the first team meeting.
No, a true servant leader in every way, shape, of the form, and it's so evident the care and the love that he has for this group. You guys only see the people behind the camera. We've got a great group in front of the camera full of alumni, whether it is Albion or Northwood, guys that have come back to support this program. It is incredible. The scene here in Midland ahead of a great matchup between Northwood and Findlay. Now, though, we'll cut and talk a little bit more about this Northwood team. Let's talk about the Booze brothers. You've seen them, the fatheads behind us, for a majority of the show. Lake and Case Booze, they've had different paths to playing wide receiver at Northwood, but now the brothers are in the position group. They have caught a combined 9 touchdowns for the Timberwolves in 2025. We talked to them about some incredible trick plays and their contributions and journey to playing for the Timbies.
We don't really care who gets the success, but we celebrate it, especially with us too. Our parents joke about it, who gets more touches, who gets more touchdowns, but seeing each other succeed is just at the top pretty much. And we feed off each other, and when we're healthy, we can do what we do.
When he came here for his official visit,
I think we walked around a little bit, but
I had lunch with him, but that's it.
I think I came up here twice, and we visited his dorm and stuff, and I mean we really didn't follow each other around, but I just saw it for myself.
I think it started from the spring game. We ran a trick play to start the spring game, and it worked out. We scored a touchdown, so I think that gave the coaching staff confidence to let me throw the ball in the Saginaw game. We were actually supposed to run it against Northern Michigan week 1, but didn't get to it, and then we saved it for Saginaw for the first play, and it was the best ball I've ever thrown in my life.
What's crazy about it is originally when we were drawing it up week 1, I wasn't even supposed to get the ball. So it was supposed to be our other outside dude, and then we switched it week 2, and it was just connection sparked again, kind of. I was going through the recruiting process, and I was getting recruited other places. People were just telling me how many times could you say in your lifetime you played college football with your brother? Showing up every day, just when I don't got it, I just see him succeed, and I just feel it brings a better athlete out of me and person. But seeing him on the same side as me, it's just I can't even it doesn't even feel real, honestly.
We've been around each other for our entire life playing football, and then transitioning into college, it kind of feels normal, but it is special, and I think it brings out the best in me too. So he has all the confidence in the world. He's always been confident in whatever sport he plays. He's quick, he's smart, he helps other people around him too, so that makes him great.
He got a position change coming in. He didn't want it. He wanted to play quarterback here. And, you know, a lot of guys would have quit or gone somewhere else. He just worked at it every day. He's gone all in, and it's paying off on Saturdays, and he's probably our biggest red zone threat right now. I mean, he always says, like, he's a better receiver, but, you know, I've been doing this for a while, so I don't know. He always says he has better hands, too. So, I mean, he did have a one-handed catch for a touchdown this year, so I kind of got to one-up that, but he's been doing good.
You saw it first, the Booze Brothers, a big-time part as we see him over the shoulder here on Small School Saturday. The brothers in the wide receiver room have made their impact undeniably so on this Northwood team. It's been very impressive to watch the seasons that they've had respectively. You saw some of the trick plays, too, what they've been able to connect. That Saginaw one, it was supposed to come out versus Northern Michigan, they said. Saved it for the Cardinals. That was a big-time win in the Expo there. Again, for this Northwood team. Let's go. We're going to try and get back up to time, fellas. Let's talk NAI football. First up, boys. We've got Indiana Wesleyan taking on Taylor, a big-time matchup. Let's talk about this Indiana Wesleyan squad. Something that you guys need to know. They're 6-2 this year. They lost to Kaiser by 7, Marion by 10, both top-ranked opponents. Seems like their offense has kind of leveled out, so to speak, scoring only 60 or 70 points per game. That's an incredible clip. Week 7, Division I Rejects Offensive Player of the Week. The quarterback, he has thrown for almost 2,700 yards, 29 tuds. He leads this Wildcat offense. Defensively, 20 sacks as a collective unit. Indiana Wesleyan doing a lot of things right, Jake.
Yeah, and looking at this Taylor team, they're 5-3 overall with 2 losses coming at the hands of Olivet Nazarene and Marion, both by just 1 score. However, they are 1-3 at home. They are struggling with using their home atmosphere to their advantage. Their defensive unit comes in ranked 4th in the nation in sacks with 25. Caleb Ranzo has 5.5 sacks, which is 3rd in the MSFA. And then on the offensive side of the ball, they're ranked 2nd in the nation in rushing yards, averaging 301.8 yards per game. A little bit less than Harding, but still pretty good, you know. And that comes at the hands of Nathan Parker, and he has 117.3 rushing yards per game, which is leading the conference. And then he has 15 rushing touchdowns.
Move it forward. We've got McPherson down in the KCAC taking on Southwestern, Cade.
Yeah, and if there wasn't a team by my good old Friends University Falcons, this team would be 8-0, right? They're 7-1. Their only loss coming to FU Friends University. They shut out University of St. Mary last weekend, 66-0 in what a game that was not competitive whatsoever. Their quarterback Ryan Markarian has thrown for 2,400 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 7 picks. He just hasn't really, quote-unquote, showed up in their bigger games that this Bulldogs team has played. It's the biggest game of the year up to this point, and honestly, the last 3 games altogether will determine, this team's destiny.
Drew, give me the cliff notes on the Jinx.
Southwestern, they're 6-2. They also lost to their friends at Friends University.
All right. Not so friendly.
But here's the one thing with Southwestern. They've scored 60 points 5 times this year, right? They talk about 50 burgers. We're talking about 60 burgers, all right? They average 52 points per game, 545 yards per game, and they're all led by quarterback Jamie Odom with 28 touchdowns on the through the air this year, 9 on the ground. Expect him to get to Matthew Holtis, their guy. He's caught 11 touchdowns on this year, just casually averaging 120 yards per game.
Casually.
One of the more unique games in all of college football today. Cumberland's going on the road to take on Cumberland. This is a big one in the NAIA landscape. 2 teams that are absolutely legit in their own right. Cade, tell me about the plural team first.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a typo. I literally asked you at first, but turns out it's a legit thing. It's a real game. They're going to play football today. This Cumberland's team is 4-4 through their first 8 games, right? They're coming off a ranked win over number 25 Bethel University in Tennessee, not to be confused with the one in Minnesota that we were at. Last week, quarterback Drew Gregg led this Cumberland squad, completing 11 passes for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. This Patriots O-line will have to step up and protect Gregg in this one if they want to have a chance to win. They have struggled up to this point, allowing 22 sacks on the season.
this Cumberland singular team, they're coming off the biggest win in their programs here against number 6 team in the country, Campbellsville. That is a statement win for this squad. They're 5-3 total. Jake Parker at quarterback. He was the man last weekend. 290 yards through the air, a touchdown to boot, as well as 2 on the ground in that upset victory. On the other side of the ball for this Cumberland squad, Cannon Johnson, he leads the team right now, 56 tackles, 6 interceptions. That is not a typo on the year. They're doing a lot of really good things. Now, the interesting stat for you, Cumberland is 18 of 30 in the red zone when it comes to scoring touchdowns and reaching pay dirt. They settle for a lot of field goals, boys. Let's keep things moving. Cade, tell me about this Olivet Nazarene team going on the road and taking on St. Francis.
Yeah, so they're 5-2 this year, right? They suffered a tough loss last week against a tough Marion squad. It might not have been that last week, actually. Sorry, it's early in the year. D1R Offensive Player of the Week last week. You know, Christian Dureed, Belleville product. He threw for just under 400 yards, added 3 touchdowns. They did lose last week. This is an offense that averages just under 500 yards a game, right? And 44 points. They average 44 points a game. To the opponent's 315 and 25 points. So you'd like to think that usually comes with wins at the end of the day. And senior linebacker John Harmon, he leads this squad defensively with 51 tackles, 3 sacks, and 8 TFLs.
Hello. Talk about the other side of the ball, Jake. The St. Francis squad out of Indiana.
Yeah,
is pretty dangerous.
Let's throw back to the Division I 2018 state champion or semifinal when it was Chip Valley versus Belleville.
Kolka.
Josh Kolka was playing receiver that game, but he's playing quarterback today for St. Francis in Indiana. He comes into this game as statistically the best quarterback in that side of the Mid-States Football Association with just north of 2,100 passing yards. That's ranked first, averaging 270 a game, 19 passing touchdowns, and he's completing 62% of his passes. On the other, at running the ball, Azaria Wallace, one of the most talented freshmen in the entire conference. He has missed 2 games and still sits as one of the best backs in the entire league. He has 487 yards to date. He's averaging 5.1s per carry as a freshman, and he averages 81.2 yards a game. The offense has rushed for a combined 19 yards in the last 2 weeks. That needs to go up today. If
19?
19. I thought it was a typo when I saw it.
19.
19. Now that could come with sacks.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Negative yards, but
terrible way to stat that. By the way,
they need to run the ball and stop the pass.
They certainly do. In our last matchup in the NAI preview, we've got Peru State going on the road, taking on William Penn. This Peru State team, they're 4-4 this year. I don't think that tells the whole story for this squad. Grandview, Benedictine, teams in the heart down there that have had their way with this Peru State squad. Redshirt sophomore quarterback C.J. Dixon, he mans this offense, thrown for almost 2,000 on the year, fellas. Certainly the guy to watch for this squad. And again, I think the record is the most deceiving part of this Peru State team. They're a team that can sneak up on a William Penn squad who has had a really phenomenal season. They share that common opponent in Grandview. They could sneak up and drag them down to the depths of conference play here. Junior defensive back Duke McClinton, he leads them defensively. 40 tackles a pick. He's done a really good job defensively for the squad, Drew.
Yeah, but William Penn is playing on a different level right now. Outside of their loss against Grandview, they've only just been very balanced all year. Let's look at it. 190 on the ground, 220 through the air. Super, super, super balanced, right? At the end of the day, though, they got to make sure that they're limiting their turnovers. Right now, quarterback Sterling Ramsey.
There it is.
Has 9 touchdowns.
Found it.
9 touchdowns, 8 interceptions on the year. So making sure that we're more, less turnover-worthy plays. But at the end of the day, this game comes down to, for William Penn, getting the ball to Destin Lauren. Talk about a name right there. That's awesome.
That is sick.
Over 1,000 yards already. He's been a dog. He averages 17 through the air and 147 on the ground. He's a do-it-all back for them for sure. And as well as their defensive backs, Marquise Harry and Jeremiah, last name gets cut off, but 4 interceptions on the year, ball-hawking secondary. Let's look for William Penn to have a great day.
Love that. Now we're going to take a kind of a short, maybe a wider look at the national scene in NAIA football. Let's talk, fellas, in terms of NAIA football, about the NAIA Football Performance Index. That, of course, is something we're going to chat here about. Currently, the NAIA, they've got 13 automatic qualifiers, 7 at-large qualifiers for the playoff. The automatics, they earn their entrance to the postseason by, of course, winning their regular season conference titles. The remaining 7, they're selected by the NAIA Football National Selection Committee. They use a series of criteria. It's been determined by the NAIA, and new for this year is what's on your screen, the NAIA Football Performance Index. It's taking the place of the top 25 coaches poll in that criteria. They award points to teams based on wins and losses that they occurred and the win percentages of their opponents. I think there's also weighted for home and away contests. So it's interesting to see small school football. We talked about D3 MPI a couple weeks ago. A lot of small school football is shifting towards these algorithms for better or worse. And that's kind of a look at your top 10 right now. Montana Tech is actually the number 1 team right now in the performance index.
That's like,
but they've played an incredible schedule. They've beat more ranked teams than anyone in the country. And while Grandview, I think, would be the odds-on favorite if those two were to play today, again, according to this algorithm, Montana Tech has proven it more.
What's the score of that game, you think?
What do you...
That's a tough question. I don't want to answer right now.
31-14?
No.
Put him on the spot.
It depends. Is that in Butte? Like, it matters
It would be
where
at
it's...
Grandview.
Then that changes things for sure.
Kobe,
but that is the look at the performance index from NAIA.
This kind of reminds me of like the BCS system back in the day, right? Where
Sure.
it's like
Yeah,
computer generated and everything like that. Like, what do we got? ChatGPT telling us who's the best team in the league? At the end of the day, the guy's got to play, right? So we'll figure it out.
Thankfully, I don't think ChatGPT is part of the criteria for the performance index.
Not yet.
So you think.
That would be bad. But let's go to our difference makers segment. Today, we're talking about Findlay and Northwood. Each of the hosts has picked one player on either side to represent them today, and who we think are going to make, a big difference in today's matchup. I'm going with Tristan Cross, the fullback from Findlay. If you know me, if anyone knows me, I freaking love a good fullback. Tristan is a man that embodies everything that you want from a fullback. He is fearless, and he is selfless. He was willing to do any job on the football field, whether that means the ball is in his hands or not. Talking with him, I was very just moved to talk about this guy, and he seems like a guy I would love to suit up and play next to. He told me that these guys would play in a parking lot if that's what it meant to win today. And thankfully, they're not doing that. They're playing on Northwood's field here, but they would. They'd come out here in the tailgate and suit it up, strap the helmets on, and get things going. He plays a big role in this defense. He says he loves running between the tackles, but he's involved in so many other ways, fellas. He's already got 2 receiving touchdowns on the year. Do not be surprised if they get Tristan rolling in the passing game. And, of course, he said my favorite thing to do is getting my pads on someone and putting them in the dirt.
Okay.
Love that. Absolutely love
That's
that.
why you like him, man.
Football player.
That's a football guy right there.
So for me, Kobe, you talked about with Tristan, a guy you'd love to play next to. I'm going to talk about a guy I did play next to, right?
There it is.
Cole Simpson. At the end of the day, Cole Simpson was a young guy when I was here, and he has emerged as not only one of the best players in the conference, but a leader on this team. And you don't have to hear it from me. The head coach just said it about 20 minutes ago, right? So here we go. Let's talk about Cole. He's been all over the field. He started out as a traditional field side safety, but he's kind of moved into the box over the last couple of years. He not only leads the team in interceptions. Oh, those matter with 4. Tackles, 53. Those matter, right? But he also is the leader of this team. So expect Cole to not only be the tone setter, but also the guy to go out there and get the job done today, potentially for the Wolves.
100%.
Did he go to Lumen Christi, do you know?
He did.
Yes.
Okay, nice.
Yes, he did.
I just know that they're, just famous for just dogs out of that.
Carbon copies of each other.
Shout out Cam and Dent and the boys.
There are also another Lumen Christi boy that is going to be a big difference maker.
And they look
today.
the exact same.
Yeah. Cade, who's your pick today for difference makers?
Yeah, so Johnny Harris, right, the defensive back from Findlay. Just a couple things I want to touch on here. He appeared in one game last year. Unfortunately, lost last year due to injury. But don't get this mistaken, because this is a guy who has 9 picks in his 4-year career up to this point, right? And if you have any knowledge of the secondary or defensive back and as a whole, I mean, 9 interceptions approaching 10 is ridiculous. And people always say you don't find the ball finds you, right, in a secondary. And this is a guy where the ball genuinely finds him, right? He's 5'11", 200 pounds. He's not easy to beat off the line of scrimmage, and his frame allows him to be physical up front. I always respect the numbers that guys in the secondary can put up. The ball finds his hands, and he's the most dangerous guy in the secondary. Look for him to shut off at least a quarter of the field, if not a half of the field today in that game.
I like that Harris aisle there.
But
Harris half.
I did say this last game day I believe we were at. Or no, it was Platteville Lacrosse, and I came on here and I was raving about a DB, and he didn't have the best game of his life. But I'm reversing the curse today.
Okay.
Harris gets one from Northwood's offense.
Takeaway?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's gonna be a big difference.
We got a bold take here as well. Jake, finish us off.
This was probably the hardest pick of the entire day. Out of all the game picks, out of all that, trying to kind of decipher which one. You have the offensive line. You have all these different guys on the offensive side of the ball. Drew covered the defense, right? And when you look at Northwood's offense, You see the Booz brothers and you see Ethan Hamby. Obviously, those are guys that make this offense go. But at the end of the day, there's still a third receiver. There's still a guy who still makes plays. You can take away Case. You can take away Lake. But I promise you, if you don't pay any attention to Mitch Rivard, he's going to make you pay. And that's what he did in the Axe Bowl against Saginaw Valley. Didn't have a single catch.
Cut a promo
Didn't
here.
have a single catch until the Saginaw Valley game where he had a breakout game. He had 4 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. And the touchdown was straight up mano-y-mano. I'm taking the ball from you. All right? He's averaging 17.6 yards per reception. He missed the Ashland game. So their one loss, he was not in.
Okay, wait
and
a minute.
Not
Only
saying that's,
one without Mitch Rivard.
but at the
That's
end
a
of the
stat.
day, right? He's a guy that's going to change the course of this game. He has a long athletic frame, and he's my game changer for sure.
Nice, man.
I love that, fellas. Now, though, without any further ado, it is time to close the show off with our game picks of all the top games across D2, D3, and NAIA football, boys. We're starting in the Division II realm. We'll work our way down. We will close the show off with our final pick, Findlay and Northwood. But first, guys, we're going D2. We've got a matchup out in the Northern Sun. We've got Northern State going on the road, taking on Augustana. Jake, will it be the Wolves or will it be the Vikings?
I'm taking Augustana on this one, Kobe. I like the favorite. I like where they're at as a program right now. I'm taking Augustana.
And I like Northern State, but I like them as a story. I like Augustana more as a football team. Sorry for the little bit of a roller coaster, but Augie has been really fun to watch. Their quarterback, having the chance to talk with him, and the belief that those seniors, those upperclassmen, have instilled into him, has the way that he's poised to lead this program has been very inspiring to watch. Drew?
Kate, I really hope that you pick Northern State so we don't get a clean sweep on Twitter. But I really agree with Kobe. I think Northern State's a great program, but Augustana's, they got it this year, right? And I'm just going to go with them. Great logo, by the way. Just
fantastic logo, the Vikings over there.
Yes. And
the first of what might be a couple for Cade here.
There's really, there's nothing for me to say other than they're going to win this football game.
Who's that?
That being Augustana, right? Again, Northern State just had a ginormous win last week. That can either be their best friend or their worst enemy, right? Do they have the win hangover, or do they have like let's carry this thing on. Let's go shock the nation. Let's go win some ball games and see what we can shake up here, right? So give me the Augustana. They get the job done today.
I do feel like it is kind of one of the case of the two extremes after a big emotional win and roller coaster like that, that win over Moorhead. But let's keep moving, fellas. We've got West Florida going on the road at Delta State. Delta State, the Statesmen actually favored by 2.5 over the Argos, Jake.
Cade, I like where you're going with this, Marcus Stokes. I'm going to hop on with you on this one. Even though Delta State is favored by 2.5 and they are having a very, very, very good season, I still like Marcus Stokes and where he's at with this offense, and I'm taking West Florida on this one.
I picked against the Argos. Coach Nobles and company, great friends of the program down there in West Florida. Coach Mello leading up the defensive line unit. I will not make that mistake again. Give me the Argos in a big win as they cement themselves, solidify themselves on top of the Gulf South Conference today,
You know what? I'll be that guy. Give me Delta State just because that West Florida is this nice, shiny team, everything like that. We're favored, and I say we because I'm picking them for a reason. Delta State takes care of business.
You love identifying with these. I love it. I'm here for it.
I'm an Arkansas Tech fan.
Okay.
Wonder Boys.
They are not on the slate today. Of course, they got their shine.
You got to be in the Miracle Boys in a couple weeks. So, I don't have to say much here, ladies and gentlemen. Put the graphic up. Give me the Argos. These guys, just absolute juggernauts. Marcus Stokes is going to go into Delta State and take their candy. Give me the Argos.
I like it. Drew picks any team in green. That's awesome.
Whoa.
That's incredible. Let's go finish out the D2 slate, at least for the beginning of it. We've got what is potentially the game of the week when it comes to the rankings in D2 football. CSU Pueblo going on the road to Gunnison, taking on Western Colorado, the Mountaineers.
We talked about Western Colorado's. I previewed on Western Colorado's defensive line. We talked about their defense, right? And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's November. It's cold, especially where they're playing this game at, right? So at the end of the day, I think defense is going to dictate this game, right? And we talked about how good they really are up front. And I'm going to take Western Colorado on this game to avenge last year's loss.
Wow.
I like where you're going. I like where your head's at. In this one, CSU Pueblo actually favored by a point. Road Dogs, they're not in the Thunder Bowl today. Give me the Mountaineers to go on ahead and separate themselves atop the RMAC. To his point, man, this is a matchup that feels so one-sided. In some of those games, it could feel like a coin flip. I say take the home team, and that is the case today. I'm taking Western.
Absolutely, and I'm not trying to be that guy that takes a home team every single time, but at the end of the day, I do need an upset of these picks, and I am going to go with Western Colorado.
Even if it's a 1-point upset.
Do it.
It counts, right? You check FanDuel.
Okay.
It counts.
Okay. Well, we don't do any gambling on this show. Not affiliated with FanDuel at all. Drew's opinions do not necessarily reflect Division I
Nice
resets.
job,
With
Drew.
that said, Cade, please finish out the picks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what was in that burrito or something, Drew, but I mean, this is a damn good Thunderwolves squad. I mean, this Pueblo team is legit. And guys, they were an extra point away from being 8-0, and we would not be sitting here saying, yeah, I'm going to take Western Colorado, right? Give me the Thunderwolves to get the job done today. You know, shout out my boy Adam Silo. Those boys going to get it done today. It's probably the biggest game in the last 2-3 years.
Long time.
Is that a Dearborn product?
Yes, it is.
There you go. There you go. You have it, the picks
Related
there.
to Solid,
The last
right?
one of the D2 slate, of course, will make our final pick for Northwood and Findlay as we move through, fellas. Let's head over to Division III. Our first one on the D3 football slate. We, of course, have Monmouth going on the road to take on UChicago for what is kind of a pseudo-conference championship game, Jake.
Yeah, I'm going to follow the trend that Drew's on, and I'm going to take the home team on this with UChicago. I just think what they're doing right now, especially this late into the season, they're pretty hard to beat, and I know we talked about how it's a conference championship game, but at the end of the day, they have the home atmosphere. I'm going to give them a nod on this one.
I feel like I'm taking the bland picks today. Chicago, though, their offense has been incredibly potent. I don't see them being slowed down, even against a really talented Fighting Scots defense. I've not been wrong picking the Maroons so far in 2025. I think that stays put.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be basic either, but at the end of the day,
Wow, we're rolling.
I'm going with Chicago. Shout out Eric Santiago, Chicago native, Northwood alumni. He has nothing to do with that program, but I will say it's a good place to play.
Yeah.
And Cade has the chance once again.
If I'm not mistaken, we did this last week.
Chicago was playing ripping. We picked that game.
Yeah, and we clean sweep Chicago, I believe.
I think you're right, and they took care of business.
And we're going to do it again, and they're going to do it again. So give me Chicago. It looks like the Cincinnati Reds right there. That
It
is
does.
like eerie
Might have a
similar,
trademark
so-
suit filing
Mixed
after
with
this
the
show.
Reds mixed with like the Bears.
Yeah.
It is. It's the
Yeah,
Chicago
it is.
Bears, but you're right. That's a good
Probably the two
observations
worst
here.
combinations you could possibly have. But a good logo, none the least.
Let's continue. We're going down to the Centennial Conference, boys. We've got Johns Hopkins heading on the road. They're almost 18-point favorites on the road at Muhlenberg. Can the Mules pull off something special and keep their season alive in the Centennial, or does Johns Hopkins the Blue Jays rule?
I can see Muhlenberg covering the spread.
Okay.
However, at the end of the day, when you're a visiting team and you're favored by 17.5 points, not 1 point, 17.5 points, right? They don't get that just because of who they are. They get that of what they've done this season. And I think that's going to show today and come even on the road. I think they're going to win this game.
I'll keep this one short and sweet. My game picks last week stunk. I'm taking the safe way out this time. Bay Harvey and the boys are rolling with the Blue Jays.
Man, I just feel like that next guy that's like, all right, your turn to now pick the Blue Jays.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, I'm trying to win this. So I'm picking the Blue Jays. I'm picking them in this game and in the World Series tonight. Go Jays.
Cade, close it out.
Yeah, dude, I don't know what it is with me and Muhlenberg, but it just I did a couple of write-ups on him the last couple of weeks, and I just feel a personal connection. Give me the Mules today. Give me the freaking Mules, man. Go get the job done, gentlemen.
Oh, that is great. We've got one more matchup here to pick in the D3 landscape. We're going, of course, back to the WIAC. Whitewater going on the road at River Falls. The Falcons favored by 2.5 at home over there at Raymer Field.
Yeah, we talked briefly on how River Falls was upset earlier in the year. They are favored by 2.5 points, but at the end of the day, we also talked about, Drew said the first school he knew about that was Division III was Whitewater. And at the end of the day, it's because of continued success, guys playing in these big-time games, guys playing in games that mean something in November, right? And so they have experience. I'm going to take Whitewater on this one as the underdog.
And Seth just dropped out of his chair watching from Des Moines, Iowa.
Someone call Seth.
Let's get a wellness check. Seth, let's get you back up in the chair. The Falcons are rolling today against the Warhawks. Caleb Blaha is playing the full game today because they're going to be rolling offensively. They need every ounce of energy they can get out of their very potent signal caller. But I think Coach Wiss and that Cobra Kai defense has something very special dialed up, especially in the first half against this Warhawk attack.
I didn't watch Cobra Kai, so I don't really care. I'm going with Whitewater for the exact same reason Jake said. This is a storied program that at the end of the day, they win big games. Tonight's a big game. They're winning this game.
There it is. Now, Kate, you don't have to save the graphic this time, my friend.
You didn't watch Cobra Kai. You definitely watched Top Gun. And this offense does follow along those lines very well. It's really not a big debate for me here. Give me the Falcons. Whitewater's offense is be realistic here. It's pathetic. Right now.
Well, we saw them play stout.
Bad.
They had very little offensive output in the first half. All of a sudden, they awoke in that second half and put up 30+ on the board in that second half.
I'm not sure Stout even played the second half.
Okay.
Anyways, River Falls
Fighting
gets it done
Jimmy
today.
Martins.
River Falls gets it done today. Blaha is that guy.
First split graphic of the day. That, of course, means we get to check in and do the annual check to see if Allie's camera is working, and it's not. I mean, why do we even check at this point, Allie? Hold on. We're going to try and do a
We gotta get her on there.
We're going to do a quick switch around here. But, Allie, you do have the deciding pick as I try and make sure your camera works. I don't think it's going to happen as the people look at a black screen, but who are you taking here, Whitewater or River Falls?
I'm actually so glad that you guys were split because I really wanted to choose this one. And over the weeks, I've learned a lot about River Falls. And I feel a loyalty to that team. So let's go.
Okay. Yes. I didn't know if she was about to cut a promo and throw a whole 180 and just throw a wrench.
And they'll swing the nut
into their own horse.
No, go Birds.
That's the last one in D3, and as someone had brought up here, Adrian and Kalamazoo, another one in terms of MIAA action in D3 football. Adrian definitely the heavy favorite in that one. That's certainly a game to keep your eye on if you're a Michigan football fan, fellas. But let's move over to NAIA football. We got Cumberland's taking on Cumberland Singular, who takes out the Cumberland's Bowl victory. Jake, starting with you.
Cumberland Singular is favored. All right? But I'm taking Cumberland's plural to win this game. Underdogs, baby. Let's go, Cumberlands.
Come on.
I'm taking Cumberland's as well. Keep it short and sweet. I think the Patriots have enough to get it done on Saturday.
I'll take the land, not the lands.
Okay.
Cumberland.
Rational enough. Cade.
Yeah, I'm going to go Cumberland's here. Cumberland's going to get the job done.
Nice shot,
UC Patriots, they get the pick here to start off
Go
the
Pats.
NAIA slate, fellas. And then, of course, we'll move on to one of the bigger matchups, I think, in NAIA football today. Indiana Wesleyan taking on Taylor. Indiana Wesleyan, the Wildcats favored by 11 here, Jake.
Yes, I'm a run-first guy. Always have been my entire football career and now into coaching. I like to run the ball. Taylor's rushing offense, they've ran for over 300 yards per game.
Wow.
And I know Indiana Wesleyan is favored by 11. And call me crazy. I might be going out on a whim here. You guys might sweep me. I might get posted on Twitter, all right? But I'm taking Taylor to have the upset of the year and beat Indiana Wesleyan.
As he's cutting the promo, the sun just comes out from behind us, dude. I mean, this is divine intervention for the pick. With all that being said, I'm still taking Indiana Wesleyan. The Wildcats are absolutely potent. That quarterback position and offensive skill group in general has been lethal. I think they get the job done.
Unless Taylor has Coach Taylor from Friday Night Lights coaching today, they ain't winning. Indiana Wesleyan.
I swear he just sits here and thinks all right.
Does, bro. You
Taylor,
can see
Taylor.
you can see the gears working.
Bobby Taylor. He's like, all right, yeah, Coach Taylor.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, the Wildcats win this game. Jake, I love your
love your heart. Love your enthusiasm.
Yeah, that. But I don't see a way that Indiana Wesleyan doesn't win this game today.
You got to make it interesting.
The final pick in NAIA, we've got McPherson taking on Southwestern. The Jinx actually favored by 7 at home over the Bulldogs. Jake, what will it be?
I took an underdog on the last one. However, I'm going to go back to taking the favorites. I'm taking Southwestern to win this game and cover the spread.
Not so fast. I'm going with the Bulldogs. McPherson has had an incredible season. We talked about the one blemish on that record coming against friends. The Jinx, they play a very different brand of football. I think that favors this McPherson squad. I'm going with the Dogs, Drew.
Shout out Sarge Manzo, Wesley, and Whitney Carpenter right there.
And Bo. Shout out Bo.
R.I.P. But at the end of the day, Southwestern's winning this game.
Oh,
Love my dogs,
goodness.
but I'm just saying they might not score 60, but they're going to win.
That is terrible.
Love those guys, though.
And they're going to lose. Yeah, be honest, I love this McPherson squad, Kobe, and I think they get the job done here today. I think they're going to win this football game.
I like that. Split graphic. Allie, what will it be? Bulldogs or Jinx? Southwestern or McPherson? And your mic's off.
I mean, come on, Bulldogs.
Yes, she's loyal.
My mom might hate me when
Sarge
she
is
sees
my
me
man.
Sarge is
I'm starting to get a little bit of trend here.
That's
She's
Unk.
siding with
Fellas, we've got one pick to go. We'll be taking the picks for Northwood hosting Findlay, the final game of our slate today. But first, boys, before we get into that matchup, let's hear from players on both sides about the game coming up.
Definitely means more. I mean, we're coming in this as one of our best records in 20 years. I love high-state games. I love the pressure building up, and I'm just excited to get out there and play because when things mean more, you just want it more.
We expect it to be hostile. We expect it to be, a great atmosphere. We don't expect anything less from them. A lot of great players on that defense. We just have to be ready to fight.
What they do well is they take the top off. They got a lot of good receivers that can really be some explosive guys, some good ball carriers. Quarterback, he's elusive. He can get out the pocket, and their offensive line is always a staple. You can't show up with nothing less than your best. So here we go.
You got to be a violent team to win, but you also got to be smart and disciplined. We got to limit the quarterback's ability to roll out the pocket and be able to throw the ball downfield.
They're a great team. They're a great defense. Every snap you watch them, they're playing hard, never giving up on a play. And that's why I think this is going to be a war on Saturday, and we're going to have to get after it.
It's gonna be a gritty game. We know it's gonna be violence all over the field. They gonna come to play.
Have their mindset big. Damn, I don't ever want to play Northwood again. They brought it, and we will.
Can we ID what the front is? Can we, there's these weird looks that they're giving us, and if we can do that well, then all we have to do is play violent after that, and we'll see a lot of success.
Still just little old Northwood. Still just little old Northwood.
And now it's time for the final pick on Small School Saturday. Will it be the home team, the Northwood Timberwolves? It feels like along every step of the way, there's been different inflection points for this team. Coach Buer came up here, and he just lit a fire under all of us, had us ready to run through a wall, but he's got a hell of a challenge today. Coach Allen and company from Findlay are 8-0 on the season. I don't care how they've done it, fellas. They have proven along every step of the way that this team can win the gritty contest. Today is going to be no exception. Let's start things off. Jake, do we even need to ask?
No, but let me get into it, all right? Talking about Findlay, they are, having played them twice, they play very physical. They are very disciplined. At the end of the day, what it boils down to is that, yes, they've had guys that have gone to the NFL, but at the end of the day, they're also football players. Like, they are football guys, like Coach Allen talked about, and they love the sport, and they play hard. They play really hard. But at the end of the day, it's November. It's a crisp Saturday. The gates are locked, and the T-Wolves are ready to let it rip. I'm taking Northwood in a barn burner. Let's go, boys.
This Northwood team has been so fun to watch, and I catch a lot of heat from Drew for picking the away teams, but damn it, I love this Findlay Oilers team. Coach Allen came up here. He instilled some great confidence in me. This team has sent more people to the pros than anyone can imagine. With all that being said, if I picked against Coach Buer, I wouldn't host another Small School Saturday. Give me Northwood to take out the Oilers.
Okay.
You cannot pick against that emotion and a true servant leader in Coach B.
Wow.
I have never been more inspired to make a pick in my life, and I feel that Northwood has all the tools offensively and defensively to be the team that takes away Findlay's perfect record in 2025.
I'm ready to go, man.
At the end of the day, we're in the woods, and winter is coming. The Wolves are here, and they're howling, and they're ready to go. Wolves by 1,000,000 today, baby.
Here we go! Look at the Timmy head.
Hey, give him the little wave.
Yes,
give him the little wave. Give him the little wave.
That is incredible. That is incredible. Drew showed off. Drew is taking the Timbies today over Findlay. The mascot head that
it was you all those years.
It was you. Incredible. Now, Cade, of course, you get to follow that one up as Drew still has the hat on and is staring at you quite ominously.
Yeah, I feel like it's such a good week every week that we go to, right? I really can't make a pick until we get there and I start to get a feel.
Sure.
Both the coaches are outstanding men, you know what I mean, and outstanding football coaches. And hearing them speak, it makes it even more difficult, right? But This Findlay Oilers team comes in here today, and they get the job done, and they beat the Timberwolves. They have not had luck here in Midland. Give me the Oilers. Let's go spoil a nice little day for these Northwood fans, but I honestly think this Oilers team gets it done. They go to 9-0.
Jeez, brother, this guy stinks.
Take a look at this crowd. This has been an incredible show. Thank you all for supporting Small School Saturday. We can't thank you enough. This is going to be an incredible day, an incredible matchup. Findlay and Northwood taking the field here in less than 40 minutes from Midland, Michigan. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in live on YouTube or X. We're so appreciative to be able to do this show. Thank you to Northwood for financing this trip and bringing us out here, making this weekend a reality. From left to right, Cade Manzo, Drew Carpenter, Kobe Manzo, Jake Kelbert. Behind the cameras, Allie Kroll. Tweeting back in Marquette, Lauren Kane. We've got a splendid group that has done a lot of work and put into this show. We can't thank you enough, though, for tuning into Small School Saturday and making us your preferred viewing option in all of college football. Signing off for Division I Rejects and